We've got one shot.
This is absolutely spectacular.
We've only got one shot. We've got one shot, one shot. Do you feel alive? We've got
What
one
race
shot,
we
one
are
shot.
watching here.
We've got one shot, one shot. Do you feel alive? Get in.
Threading the eye of the needle with
You
surgical
know
like
that we won't
precision.
back down to feel alive. Waiting for the chance to show the world who we are. We've only got one shot. We've only got one shot.
It's an outstanding overtake.
We gotta do it right to feel alive. Waiting for the chance to show the world who we are. We've only got one shot.
Welcome to Creator Series Season 13.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Creator Series. We are back, baby. A new season along with a new game. Yes, F1 26, the DLC is out. And of course, in Creator Series style, we are throwing everyone into probably one of the hardest challenges that we could have straight away with a 100% race around Monaco. Obviously, it is Monaco weekend. We're all having a banging time. I hope you all enjoyed the real life qualifying that we just watched a couple hours ago. What an absolute show. But we're going to continue that on with some of the best F1 racing in the game you're going to see, because we have all of our amazing creators back once again. Cannot wait to see how it's going to go and how many people are not going to make it to the end with these new game changes. All right, it's not just me that you're going to be looking at throughout the night. We have a few other amazing colleagues as well. Josh, Richard, you're back for F1 26 on the clipbook roll. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Looking forward to this one. And with all the chaos we're going to be seeing in Monaco, I'm really looking forward to this one. We've got the new battery coming in, which is going to potentially make overtaking a bit more possible. We haven't really seen much racing at all on this game. It's only been out for a couple of days, so we don't really have much of an idea what we're going to be seeing here. But I'm hopeful that we might actually see some racing here tonight.
I think you're right. I think that's what we're going to see as well. Yes, new game, new changes. I'm sure if you've tried the game, you have noticed quite a difference. Fair play to EA for giving us something quite different to look at. Some people might not be the biggest fan of it, and some might, similar to the real F1. All right, we've got a quick thing we want to talk about first, because with this new season of Creator Series, we have a brand new sponsor here, and we're so happy to see them involved. We're delighted to announce a brand new partnership for the Creator Series. Joining us as official setup partners is GoSetups.gg, one of the leading setup providers in sim racing. Whether you're competing in F1, iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate, or a range of other racing titles, GoSetups.gg offers professionally developed setups designed to help drivers get the most out of their cars and maximise performance on track. If you're Adam Sanderson, you really do need this. We're excited to be working together to bring even more value to our community and competitors throughout the season. And if you'd like to try the setups for yourself, we've got an exclusive offer for Creator Series viewers. Oh yes, baby. Simply use the code CS10, that's CS10, at checkout to receive 10% off your order. That's CS10 for 10% off at GoSetups.gg. A huge thank you to GoSetups for their support for the Creator Series, and we look forward to what we can achieve together. Yes, baby. Okay, I am definitely going to be checking that out because I'm going to need to. Let's go to the calendar now so that we can see the amazing tracks that Creator Series have chosen for this season. Here we go. Starting off, prime possession. Josh, let's run this through with me. So first off, we have Monaco on June the 6th. We're going to Barcelona June the 13th. Madrid, the brand new circuit on this game. That is going to be absolute carnage. So please clear your schedules for June 20th. Oh my God, can't wait. Austria, for round 4, June the 27th. Great Britain 5th, and July the 4th. For round 6, we're going to Belgium, of course, Spa, banging, can't wait to see that. And Hungary will be halfway through the season, Josh.
Yeah, then we head to Singapore. Going to be another very, very, very chaotic race to kick off the second half of the season. We've got a fan vote on August the 15th, so make sure you get your votes in then. Let's see where we're heading for that. We've got Netherlands on August the 22nd, and then we head to Vegas on August the 29th. Going to be a very interesting one with the battery deployment there, with the very, very long Las Vegas strip. We head to Monza on September the 5th. Another track where I think battery deployment is going to be very difficult for the drivers. Bahrain for round 13, the penultimate race of the season on September 19th. And then a double points finisher in Azerbaijan, a very, very chaotic race with double the stakes on September the 26th.
Which, for this season, I got to say is a banging decision. Whoever made that, double points for the final event. Yes, baby. Can't wait for that. All right, let's go back and look at me and Josh for seconds, because I also want to bring in two amazing, amazing people who you've seen and heard mostly throughout the entire Creator Series past few seasons. It's the two Toms. It's Tom Knight and Tom Wilkinson. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. All right, TK, how you doing, mate?
I'm doing very, very well. Hi, guys. Hi, chat as well. I can't believe I'm back. 9th season here for Creator Series. I'm surprised people haven't got sick of my voice at this point.
No one answer that. No, I'm joking. No, yeah, I still remember our F2 at Baku. I still remember all that a long time ago. Tom Wilkinson, welcome back, mate. As always, you are banging here. How are you?
I'm doing what? No. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I have absolutely no idea what to expect. I don't think any of us know what to expect. 14 rounds in a season, by the way. That's the longest season I think we've had until what? Season 3, which is back on F1 23. So that's a long time ago. It feels weird to say we're going to be going until the end of September, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Like I said, everything we potentially thought we knew, throw that in the bin. We're starting again. It's going to be a good one.
We are. And like the games never went through a transition like this, right? We usually just get a new game every year, but this is a DLC. And it is very different. Like, I'm really excited to see what drivers. Like, I got a weird feeling that we're going to shake up obviously the fast people are going to be fast, but I wouldn't be too surprised, Josh, if we had some new names maybe starting to compete who maybe just figured out the strategy of this game a little bit more than the raw, fast-paced people.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've heard from some of the creators, getting the battery deployment right can be worth sometimes upwards of a second. So if you can really nail on that battery deployment strategy compared to some of the other drivers, you could be gaining yourself a big, big chunk of time. And that might be enough to get yourself into that fight for the top 5, the podium, or maybe even a win this season.
I think so, 100%. In previous seasons of Creator Series, there's been certain words that have kind of came out that maybe annoyed people slightly, like wildcards, you know. For a while, they were controversial. Another one was realistic performance. No. If you said that near the end of that season, you'd get dude. But I've got a weird feeling I know what the words for this season is going to be. Isn't it, Tiki? It's going to be battery. It's going to be battery, energy this, energy that. How many times do you anticipate talking about this throughout the race?
At least about 4 times a lap, which over Monaco is probably about 290 times a race, not including qualifying. It's going to be a lot. If anyone wants to keep count over the course of the season, I'd be impressed.
Yeah, 100%. And Tom Wilkinson, I'm sure you've had a little chance to play the game. What do you think? Do you like it?
Takes a little bit of time to get used to with the lifting and coasting, which makes quali slightly less exciting, but I actually think the cars to drive feels a bit more natural than the 25 cars did. Coming back to it after a little time away just feels like you can get up to speed a little bit quicker. I think it's better, which is obviously good because it's an update. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes around Monaco because these cars, since they've got less downforce, they do tend to understeer a little bit more, especially in high-speed corners. Yes, people will be able to dial those out with setups, but I think it will take a little bit of time for people to really get up to speed and we really see the best of some of the big guns that we expect to be fighting for this title.
That's valid. And of course, they're all going to have the best setups ever because we have GoSetups.gg. Oh my God, yes. Aren't I right, Josh? No, definitely. Josh, have you had a chance to play the game yourself? What's your first initial thoughts? And obviously, guys in the chat, please let us know what you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed it so far. I enjoy 25 as well. The battery as well. It's been a bit of an adjustment, but once you kind of get what you need, the systems into your head, it doesn't feel terrible. It's not as bad as I was hearing. It's not as bad as I expected when I first heard what some people were saying. It's not ideal, but it's playable. Is how I'd put it.
Love it. It's playable. Also, Gareth in the back producing. At some point, I would like a battery counter for how many times it gets said throughout the screen. Throughout the stream, I would like to see that. But yeah, no, I love it. Look, I know we've heard it all in the real life IRL F1 season, like battery this, battery that. What I like for us that play the game now, all right, is I don't know about you guys, but for the last kind of few months in real life F1, I've been hearing all this stuff and I don't really know what the hell they're talking about, to be honest. So now actually getting into the game to feel it, right, to feel what some of these drivers are having to go through, it definitely mixes it all up a little bit, and it's not just foot down all the time, like just go crazy. Like I'm actually thinking more, Tom, right? And if anything, I think that's going to make it for a more interesting race.
I assume you're going with me from that
Oh,
one.
Tom, TK.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one, I think, for our drivers to manage, because we've obviously, the battery is now 50% of the output that these engines can manage. We've seen the element of lift and coast from last game. It was that element to recharge the battery maybe before a straight, but actually we're hearing from the creators you're lifting to about 80% through some high-speed corners to then be able to charge for the next lap. So maybe at Monaco it won't be too much of an issue. We've got a lot of braking opportunities to kind of slam the anchors on. But when we head to Barcelona and Madrid, I think that's where we'll really start to see that battery management come into its own.
I've counted 5 batteries so far. Guys, please, on YouTube, Twitch, let us know who you think is going to win this race. Also, for people that are just watching on the live stream, we do content throughout the week. We'd love for you to get involved in that, because you're going to see highlights from the streams, maybe stuff that you wouldn't normally have seen. That's Creator Series GG. So I want you to go to Instagram, go to TikTok, go to X, go to wherever you go. Please let people know the good work that we do, because we are having a lot of fun. All right, really quick, because the lobby's about to start. Tom Wilkinson, who's going to win?
Alex Gillen.
Okay, Josh.
Unfortunately, I've just been robbed there. I am going to say Razinchai.
Okay, TK?
There's only one name on my mind. Hayden von der Gullis. He's taking it today.
Oh my god. Okay, we all know what Gillen's like when it comes to weird strategy and battery plumbing management and all of the most boring statistical things you can think of. There's one man that's always on top, and it's Alex Gillen. He could Verstappen 23 of this, genuinely, couldn't he, Tom Wilkinson?
He could. I mean, you have just basically outed him for being a complete nerd there. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to be one of the big favourites, especially when he dropped that battery management video within about 0.5 seconds of the DLC properly coming out.
Yeah, I love that. Gareth, that was ready. Sorry, I didn't hear you quite there. All right, I love it. Guys, it's been a pleasure. The two Toms, TK, Tom Wilkinson, please take it away. Have a great qualifying session.
Well, welcome everybody back to the Principality, the venue, if you can cast your mind back to Season 7, the start of F1 24, where we had the first ever red flag within the Creator Series as well. Hopefully, none of that today, but I'll tell you one thing that has changed. New rules, new regulations, and an additional 2 cars on the grid. We've added Audi and Cadillac to our lineups. We've got more cars on this grid than traditionally you'd see driving around Monaco during the daytime, but nonetheless, they're all going to go out there, give it their best shot here, Tom. And I'm questioning how many are going to end up in the barriers.
I'm thinking a lot, and part of me is hoping a lot as well, because we want to see them pushing to the limits early on and making mistakes. That's what we like about the Creator Series. We see people trying to extend the maximum out of themselves. If you are new, you'll be questioning why some drivers are on the wet compound tyres, and to be honest, if you're a returning viewer, you'll be questioning that as well. We have got a change that we're going to come to straight away. Intermediate pole position, slightly different now, because those green stripe tyres, the intermediate tyres, have been banned completely from this season. Therefore, we're taking the intermediate pole and we're switching it up to the wet tyre pole.
I'm so glad you phrased it like that, because I cannot guarantee that I will stay straight-faced calling it wet pole for the entirety of the season. There we go. Sasso loves an inter pole attempt last season. However, he's well vested in trying to get a wet pole, so we'll do well this season. We ride on board with one of the Scuderia Ferrari cars, making their way through the pole section down towards Raskas for their very first attempt of F1 26 Season Edition, or if you want its full legal name, it's the EA Sports F1 25 2026 Season Edition. That is a mouthful.
That's like the Imola track name from a few years ago, isn't it? I can't even remember what it was. It was about 16 days to try and get through the entire name as we barrel into Sandrock for the first time. You can see the boatload of understeer. Already, these wet tyres are going to be overheating quite a lot. They're very, very soft compound. which is why they don't really work in real life in the wet weather conditions. That's why everybody wants to jump on the Inters as much as possible, and why they're certainly not going to work in these beautiful conditions that we've got in Monte Carlo.
Totally so. Lovely 20 degrees in the air. The track temperature about 28 degrees, so you're right. Those tyres are going to be burning up more than me at the beach on a summer holiday. So nonetheless, Safso managing to get that scarlet red Ferrari nice and beautifully down through Portier, down towards the tunnel, and down towards the Nouvelle Chicane, which, if you can remember back to Season 7, and yes, we're going to make a lot of references to it tonight, that was the site that caused the red flag. I believe it was Tom that managed to cause that. And speaking of Tom, he is, I believe, racing, at least qualifying, for Fabio. You can see him in P7 at the moment in the Williams outfit. So Fabio's having some issues. Shock of horror, colour me impressed. So Thomas decided to take it on himself to qualify, and we have got the first of the times coming in. Concept 7 cares not for a wet pole and has gone fastest at 1:11.1 so far. Gillen again going on the softer compounded tyre. He's into the 10.9s, so we'll have to try and keep a lookout here for those that are attempting the wet pole challenge.
Yeah, and it's Safso with that benchmark on a 1:18.4, technically an 18.5 if you round it up by a micrometer, or a millisecond I should say. Ricky 03 though, his teammate, goes faster, and then your reigning champion takes another half a second out of his former teammate's time.
Certainly does, and we're still expecting to see, of course, this is just your traditional short qualifying session, so we aren't worried about drivers being in the bottom 6 and then being in the bottom 6 again. This is just going to be a straight shootout for pole position, so they have got the opportunity to go fastest. Just over a minute and a half left then to go fastest on the wet compound of tyre. Razin Jai, our next competitor up towards the line on the blue stripe Pirelli tyres. He goes 9th fastest overall, which I believe will put him 3rd fastest in the wet pole competition. Lolly Nobas currently leads that, with other drivers not setting too impressive lap times, even on the softer compound of tyre. We're seeing the likes of F1 Alex and, oh my goodness, Tom! That is Meraki, I'm going to assume, or probably Hayden Gullis, actually more likely. No, it was Meraki. Interesting seeing the Dutchman trying an attempted move on Meraki in towards Raskas. Nonetheless, it didn't work, and now we watch Mango Slayer, also known as Mango from YouTube. He has been figuring out what a brake bias is, but does go slowest overall on a soft compound of tyre, 125, so something went wrong for that Cadillac.
Yeah, and things going wrong, as you saw, into Raskas with Tom, who had just gone fastest in the middle sector. He was on a soft tyre run. Meraki was on an intermediate or a wet tyre run. That's going to take a while to get used to. And there was just that little tete-a-tete, wasn't it, as they came to blows. Dak Govins approaching the final sector now, though. That looks very slow going through to back corner. I think he's probably backed out on this one.
He absolutely has. We saw a Red Bull as well, cutting the Nouvelle Chicane just out of the tunnel. Not quite sure who that was. I'm going to assume it was one of the drivers up the top. It was indeed Razin in 11th place. The other driver of Kaida, or Kailda, into the pits, not doing their second run at the moment. Of course, a new reservist within the Creator Series and making their debut here in Monaco. We pray for their soul. We watch Hayden Gullis now on the wet tyres. I don't think he's going to have enough time to complete a run here, as he makes his way into Mirabeau and through the Grand Hotel hairpin. He'll try and hug that like his favourite granny, with 4 seconds left until that pole timer ceases. Yeah, he's not making it. 12 minutes has hit, and we have been determined that Lolly Noba has the wettest pole of them all.
What is in his mouth? Has he got some kind of magnum going on, trying to cool himself down? That's an interesting one. As Gillen goes faster to the tune of 0.4 of a second. 10.5, Concept 7, good lap as well. 10.6. I mean, it's an interesting picture-in-picture for you, everybody. But your reigning champion is now the championship leader, of course, and we can confirm that Molinova after that does have the wettest pole so far.
Oh, Aiden's in a wall as well. So Magnum, folks, other sweets, chocolate, ice cream on a stick are available. Of course, and I don't know what he's figuring out and going on here, but that surely cannot be comfortable, having something that cold in his mouth. He sees the McLaren just swifting on through. I believe that is going to be potentially Tim and Mardek making their way onto their final run, potentially. That might be F1 Alex again, heading across the line, but we watch Hayden Gullis in towards the pits then. So wet pole is decided. We now have an opportunity to see who can set the fastest time, and shock horror here, Tom. Alex Gillen's in the lead. I'll be honest, if we didn't expect this, something probably went wrong in our expectations.
Only a couple of tenths up, though, on Concept 7, who was very impressive, especially in the back end of last season, in Season 12. He had some really strong performances, especially in qualifying. So whether that's a sign that Concept's looking really good or Alex Gillen's just doing exactly what we expected, we'll have to wait and see how that develops. Interesting partnership going on at Haas. This could be absolutely cataclysmic with the punches and the sparring matches these two have had over the past few seasons. Alex Gillen and Matt 2-1-2. Some would call it a dream team, but some would say it's most certainly going to be a nightmare. Alex Gillen the first, you'd imagine.
Realistically, the Haas team is the team of I was there. Gillen in multiplayer and then that 2-on-2 in the single-player career, if you've watched many of his videos. He loves a dive bomb down the inside of the AIs, and nonetheless looking to try and translate that here into multiplayer racing. But through the final corner of Anthony knows he will go, and up towards the line. Where can he go? And it will be 7th fastest, improves by just over 0.2 of a second with 10 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And we're seeing here that Matt will be hoping that he won't finish in his namesake's position today. 21 twice, which essentially makes 22nd. It was a hard joke to make, I'll be honest. It was a stretch.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at where people are down, where people are losing time. Tom97 just gone 4th fastest in that Aston Martin, but 1.3 down on Alex Gillen's provisional pole time. The middle sector, I think, is where it's won and lost at the moment. There's not a lot in the first sector, and there's not a lot in the final sector as well, but it's really trying to work your way through Mirabeau, through the Lowe's hairpin, and then into the Nouvelle chicane as well. That's where drivers are really struggling to get the car rotated. They can feel a little bit cumbersome at low speed, even though we've taken a load of weight off these cars compared to the ground effect era ones.
Absolutely. We see Maraki's return as well after taking a season's break. Whether that was by choice or not, we'll leave that up to the discussion of the respective chats in YouTube and or Twitch, but makes it through the chicane. I don't think that's going to be legal. The look on his face would indicate to me that was probably an invalid run. He certainly doesn't seem too happy. Either that or he's had a bad case of food fit. No, there we go. Red track map indicating that that was indeed an invalid run. So has he got enough fuel to go again? We'll keep an eye on that one. Lottie Nova now on the softer rubber does go fastest. A tenth and some change quicker than Alex Gillen himself. So our Italian stallion back up to the top of the timing tower. Safso as well. But he goes 3rd fastest through a jump there for the Ferraris up to 3rd place. Razin Chai not giving us a camera. Naughty boy Razin. But through the Nouvelle chicane, very nice and smoothly, turns 10 and 11.
Sector time's really interesting. Lolonova was 3/10 up on Gillen through the first sector, handed all of that back in the middle sector, and then took a 10th back in the final sector, though Razin looking pretty racy through the swimming pool chicane as well. The Williams is going to get out of the way. And what can the former Season 5 champion do as he rounds the final corner through Anthony Nose? 10-4 the time to try and chase. Ran to the line, 10.1. Wow, that is a big statement.
I say we deduct about half a second for not providing us a camera, which will knock him back down to at least 5th or 6th place. And yeah, for those of you asking along in the chat, if Fabio does manage to get his game working, Tom will go back to the showers and hand the seat back to Infratic, and he'll start from wherever Tom qualified. On board with Team Amardic, the bloke reckons he's a mechanic, but spent 3 hours trying to start a barbecue this afternoon. So not quite sure how it's going to benefit him racing in Monaco, Tom.
With the number of internet issues he had last season, hopefully he's a mechanic of that kind and a software engineer, if you will, to try and fix those connection problems that blighted his championship charge. Decent first and middle sector for the former 2-time champ. Little bit unstable at the rear coming out of Anthony Nose, but what can the McLaren do? It's terrible around this circuit in real life. And he's about 3/10 down on the benchmark set by Razin Chai. Kareem 7T slotting as well into P3. One of only 2 former winners that are racing this evening, the other being Alex Gillen.
Worth mentioning as well, of course, if you are brand new to the creative or brand new to maybe Monaco or F126, if you're wondering why they don't get the rear wings open as they head down the start-finish straight, there is no straight line mode here at the Monaco Grand Prix, both in real life and inside of F1's 25's 2026 season edition, which I think we'll probably just call F126 for short for now. So yeah, no opportunities to get those rear and front wings open. They do have overtake mode available to them. You'll see the line for that just at the exit of turn 18 and 19 down towards the start-finish straight. If we ride on board with Tom 97, we might be able to catch a glimpse of it. It should be on the left-hand side there. I might have missed it very briefly. But nonetheless, the driver in the lean green racing machine replacing GB68 goes 9th fastest at the moment.
And what's great to see as well, Tom's been out there, done 6 laps on this set of soft compound tyres and still finding time. Hold that thought. Reigning champion to the line, doesn't quite get into the 9s, doesn't break the 72nd mark, but reclaims that provisional pole time by nearly a 10.5 over Razin Chai. But what I was going to say, because these soft tyres are a lot more durable than they were in the F125 cars, it means we can see drivers going for multiple runs and staying competitive with those multiple runs as the session goes on, which is going to make this qualifying format, I should say, the 18-minute session as Tom clouts the barrier, a little bit more interesting.
You're absolutely right. It's something that we saw in IRL qualifying this afternoon. We saw drivers literally fueling up for the entire session and then being able to just push and recharge, especially in Monaco, those heavy braking zones that help to recharge the battery over the course of the lap as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if the V drivers are doing that, obviously making those quick pit stops, albeit not necessarily available inside of F126 like we see in real life. Something that we wish we maybe could have in future titles. We have got yellow flags in the second and third sectors. I think that is an Aston Martin going slowly. And one thing is worth mentioning here as well, with the overtake mode, the boost mode, as it's been noticed, it isn't available if there's a yellow flag flying. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be some nefarious tactics by drivers to go notably slower through sectors to cause yellow flags and for drivers so that you lose that boost mode, but I'm not saying it won't happen.
Yeah, and the yellow flags on this game like to be thrown quite frequently if there's a car going slowly on an outlap or an in-lap trying to get out of the way. Meraki's still down there in, well, I was going to say down there in 22nd. Out to P3 as he gets his first time on the board. A 10 flat, really tight at the sharp end. Less than 0.04 of a second separating the top three. Concept 7, another good run to get him up into P5. Tom Biener with that lap time as well. 10 flat, straight in there on the board. Challenging right at the sharp end. If Fabio does get back in, he'll be absolutely loving life there. Bumping Kareem 17, Tier McMardick and Alex Gillen down the pecking order as Gillen's just found a couple of tenths in the first set, but still a tenth down on Lolly's benchmark.
What would be really funny is if Fabio can't get in, Tom does the race for him and wins the Grand Prix, because technically the first ever race won by a driver not officially on the entrance sheet. One to watch out for as we head in towards 78 laps of the Principality. Fimex towards the line, improved by 3.5 tenths or so, but couldn't find any further improvements. So stays 14th fastest for now. Gillen's in toward pit road, just making their way down towards their pit garage. You see all of the new garages, of course 11 of them in total now. Safso on a flying run as well, just making his way down through the Nouvelle chicane and through to back corner. Really notable one, little tap of the barrier on the right hand side, but not improving. 1.7 tenths up, or sorry, down should I say, at the end of the second sector. He might try and improve through Raskas and Anthony Knowles. We might try and build up once again and go for another run here with 3 minutes and some change left on the timekeeper's clock. Thank you everybody as well that is tuning in, both on YouTube and Twitch. We see all the follows coming through. It's lovely to be back for a new season. It's one of the loveliest things is when we get new drivers in, welcoming their communities in as well.
Absolutely. Feels like a fresh start, doesn't it? Every time we transition through a new game cycle, or in this case, with the brand new season pass with the new 26 cars, does feel like a really nice reset point to go through. Just a word on Gillen as well. We saw him coming into the pits. He did actually go fastest in the middle sector on that lap and was on a really tidy lap. I think he was right up there with the benchmark set by Lolanova, so must have had a bit of a whoopsie in the final sector. So just a one to keep an eye on there. We're seeing drivers pushing very hard, but because of the way these cars are, less downforce, a little bit lacking of confidence, let's say, for some of the top guys as well. Just seeing a few little errors creeping in.
Absolutely. And one rule we might want to mention as well, obviously we mentioned intermediates being banned. Before we get on to the final run, it's worth just talking about all three tyre compounds must be used in the race should it remain dry. And we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. So of course, in intermediates banned, if it does rain, drivers will have to drop from the dry compounds straight over to the wet weather tyres. Concept 7 up towards the line, and what is going to be a bit of a bizarre run here. It can be maybe a double warm-up lap with themselves. Gwatts, or G-Watts, as he likes to be called, making his way through to back corner and then through swimming pool as well, towards Raskas, avoiding the, oh no, not avoiding the barrier on the right-hand side. I spoke too soon for the Williams, but through the right-hander of 17, and into Anthony Knowles to finish off their run. They'll get a little bit of slipstream from the car in front. That'll be one of the V-cubs. I'm going to assume that is grid jokes. It is indeed, and it promotes himself up to 18th place. Not necessarily going to be enough to try and challenge for the top spot, unless he wants to try and go for another run. Keep an eye on Tom Biener, though. They are flying in the first sector, potentially trying to make moves. And Karim 17, the first of the retirements, that is out on the track. He has made a mistake somewhere. It looks as if they're heading through Casino, the right-hander where Fabio dropped it many moons ago.
That is going to cost a lot of drivers, a lot of attempts there. Remember, like you said, the battery, the boost getting disabled as Tom 97 up to P4. Just over a minute left. Tom playing with fire through to back, but he's absolutely flying through the middle sector, blitzing it out there right now. This is prime season 3 Tom Biener, remember, the champion from back on F123. This could be absolutely smashing Lolanova's benchmark if he can keep it up through the final couple of corners.
Certainly so. Towards the line then. Can he go faster? He can. Tom to the top. Into the 109s then. This is going to be an end to qualifying that quite literally nobody saw coming. Lolly Nova will have to give him everything. Can Ben do anything? No. Sixth fastest is all he's got. And that's an invalidation as well for what surely would have to be his final run. So Tim and Mardik will not improve from sixth place here this afternoon. Fimex making their way through to back corner now. In towards swimming pool. The camera beautifully eclipsing them. Coming across that chicane in purple according to the game, but it is only a green middle sector at 33.5. It's about half a second off what we'd be expecting, but nonetheless makes their way through the final corner up towards the line then. What can they try and put down? They improve by 2.5 tenths up to 13th fastest. And Aston Martin next towards the line. I think that is going to be potentially Chappers. I couldn't quite see who that was. We watched Riccio 3 though. Of course, reigning Constructors champion as the checkered flag flies here in Monaco. Can they improve? From 10th fastest, they'll run towards the line, try and make a dash, and they do. It's 5th fastest for Riccio 3.
That Kareem crash has scuppered a lot of drivers out there who were trying to find an improvement. Matt 212 down in 20th. Concept 7 to P6. Bumps Razin, bumps Ben down a further spot. You've got 4 former champions filling out the final 4 spots inside the top 10. Another improvement for Matt 212 by a second, but still only P14. Ben's done. Gillen to the front row. Gets below 70 seconds, but still nearly 3 tenths down on Tom Bina.
Looking very close. Watch on board with grid jokes here. 20th place at the moment for the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Towards the checkered flag they fly. Can they improve? Yes. 18th fastest. Scotty Designs gets a 5th place grid penalty for nose-on-nose contact with Hayden Gullis and Razin Chai joins the party. Chappers now towards the line. Can they improve? Yes. 15th fastest for them. Let's keep an eye on Lolly Nova. Can they improve potentially? I think they are slightly through the final corner. No, they're 4 tenths down on their previous best, so left as a miracle in the final sector here. Lolly Nova surely won't go faster. They don't. They do not improve by 1.7 tenths. So to the top, ladies and gentlemen, making such an unexpected and grand return to the Creator Series. Tom is back being the bomb.
Your ultimate super sub. That is incredible. He's taken it by, it's not even close, nearly 3 tenths per second ahead of Gillen, the only other driver to get below the 1 minute 10 mark. Lolly in P3, good start for the reigning champion, but some big names that are going to be down the order. Razin in P8 will drop 5 places with that penalty, so you've got Ben from 8, Kareem from 9th, Vince, Safso, and then Razin in and around that point as well. These opening few laps are going to get very, very tasty, especially as drivers are still trying to get up to speed with this battery management, and that is probably why we've seen some drivers a little bit further down than we would have expected.
Quite ironic. Tom's come out with his merch line very recently, and on one of the hoodies it says, "What do? We never win," and then scribbled out saying, "Give up." And rather apt that he's now starting from the front, not only from the front row of the grid, but he is starting on pole in the Principality, which is rather poetic if you think about it. And we'll run through your complete order here today. It's Tom that starts from the front, Gillen second with Lolly Nova in third, Meraki fourth, Tom 97 fifth, and then Riccio 3, Concept 7, Razin Chai, Tim Amardik and Karim 70. Rounding out your top 10, it's then Vince, Safso, Fimex, Matt 212, Chappers, Hayden, Vonda Gullis, Mango Slayer, Grid Jokes, F1 Alex and Gwatz that your top 20, with Scotty Designs, by the way, and Kylda in 21st and 22nd. And you know what, Scott? It's back to you in the studio.
Why, thank you very much. Okay, Tom with the B on back on top. What was that? Okay, we got Gillen right in second, Josh, but that was just ridiculous. What was that? Mr. Muted Man, we'll get back to you in a wee second. You have been caught, my friend. Hello, Josh. Hi.
It was gonna happen. It was gonna happen. Yeah, it was a bit unexpected. Of course, we should have really seen it coming. I think at least a little bit. Tom he's always kind of been up there at the front. But yeah, by such a margin as well. I think it was almost 4 tenths of a second that he was clear at the front.
It's incredible. Now, that was an awesome session. Do we have any clips, Josh? I'd love to see a bit more behind the scenes from that.
Yeah, I have got a couple of clips, 3 or 4 incidents. Let me go full screen. First and foremost, this was Meraki at the start of the session, while he was out on the wet tyres, trying to get his wet pole. And then coming into the Raskas, our pole sitter, Mr. Tom Bina, tried to do his best Benjamin Daly impression, unfortunately ending in a little bit of contact. But they both survived, and that is the crucial thing. We've got Mr. Hayden van der Gullis, with his lovely Magnum in the mouth, making his way through the middle sector here. And just behind him, you can see the proximity arrow. Matt 212 getting a little bit impatient. I'm not sure whether Hayden realised he was there, and very nearly qualifying coming to an end there for Hayden Gullis. I think with simulation damage, that very well could have been the case. This was very quickly the POV from Matt. We'll just go back a little bit. So yeah, you can see he's trying to look for a way through, hoping that Hayden's going to get out the way, and it just didn't come to him. He's losing probably about 0.4 of a second there, maybe even 0.5 as he made his way through. But it's all in a bit of fun. You can also see the subtitles. Some of the creators have added that onto their streams recently. So you can kind of see what they're saying now, even though we don't have the sound. This was Karim's DNF as well. Got a little bit of traffic as he was starting his final run, but they get out the way nicely, making his way up the hill in towards Massenet. Gets the car rotated in nicely, but he actually gets a bit more rotation than he was expecting and just barely clips the wall on the inside, launches the car into the air. And then that was how that one went. And last but not least, Scotty Designs, I think we caught it a little bit with the penalty. He had some interesting travels at the end of the session, clips the wall there, spins it around on the pit entry, and now gets himself caught up against the barriers with cars coming into the pit lane. This is where he ended up getting his penalty. I'll quickly jump up to 2x speed so we can see what's going on here. A bit of a car park forms on the pit entry. Scotty didn't really know where to go, basically. Eventually managed to get the car turned around and head back into the pit lane.
Absolute carnage. Oh my god, I love that. Okay, what a banging session. I got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't want to speak too soon, but I got a funny feeling this is going to be good to watch. What I noticed was how widespread all the times were. TK, what was that? We had some big names quite slow there.
I think one thing that we really got to take into consideration with this is the game has literally been out, or the DLC's been out 3 days at this point. There are drivers that have had the opportunity to put in more laps than others. I know a lot of them were sweating out times last night, and quite possibly the likes that are up at the top of the table, your Toms, your Gillans, your Razins, your Bens, they were running lap after lap last night. So, naturally expecting them to do better.
Absolute sweats. Can't be having it. They should get a penalty. No, terrible. Yeah, no, 100%. Tom Wilkinson, what was your thoughts from that qualifying session?
That B word, isn't it? It's battery. That's why we're seeing so many differences in the times. That's why the field spread's so much greater. It's really interesting to see because people have obviously got different deployment strategies as well. That's why we're seeing some differences in the sector times. Some people quarter of a second faster than their rivals in sector 1, for example. Then they bring it all back in the middle sector. I think that's going to make for a really interesting race. Whether we get the flip-flop racing that we see in real life, I'm not 100% sure because at the end of the day, it is still Monaco. But if we get even half of that, I think we could be in for a very exciting one, especially if maybe there could be some weather on the horizon.
Yes, and Josh can talk about that in a wee second. But we do have a tiny bit of bad news, though. Fabio was not able to get his game up and running. So Tom with a B will be doing the race. Now, to be fair to Tom, good. Imagine having to throw away that pole position to Fabio. That'd have been mad. And Josh, did you see that there might be potential for some chaos in the rain?
Yeah, I didn't see much. I only caught it very briefly while I was looking for some clips, but I did notice that there was a rain icon on the horizon for the race. I don't know when it's coming. I don't know how much is coming, but we might be seeing those wet tyres coming out in the race.
That's mad. And TK, is there anything in the rules that sort of change whenever the rain hits?
You see, Scott, I wish I knew. I probably should have read that part. Genuine question. Probably going to be the
tyre rule, I think, comes out of the equation. I think it's like real life. You don't have to use all of the compounds.
I'm sorry,
let's have a little look.
I just threw you in. I don't know if anything changes with any overtake mode or whatnot. Or...
okay. So technically not for the... Well, technically yes for the overtake mode because it gets disabled under low grip conditions. That's the official term used by the FIA. Typically, we'd see the front wing no longer open with straight line mode. I believe the rear wing still opens. But on Creator Series rules as well, if a wet tyre is used at any point, the rule for all 3 dry compounds goes out the window. So a lot of them will be hoping if the rain's maybe right at the end of the race, they might take that gamble as to whether it's worth it or not.
And just to reiterate, you probably did hear it in the broadcast, but just in case you missed it, intermediate tyres are gone. That is the rule for this season. You cannot go on the intermediate tyre, which... I need to see it in action first to really see how it goes. But Tom Wilkinson, I think that's a banging idea.
I'm really hoping if we do get rain, it's just enough rain that the dry tyres are difficult. And we're in that position where people are thinking, oh, do I stick it out on the dry tyres or do I go for the wet tyres, which are also not going to be particularly good in those conditions either. If we do find ourselves in that situation, will be really interesting. And I'm hoping that we'll see it multiple times this season. Really interesting to see what direction people go.
Yeah, 100%. Like, my thoughts are, like, because they're so far away from the dry to the wet, this is going to really force the drivers, like, it could make or break your entire race. Obviously, safety cars might come in, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, we will be onto the race as soon as possible. As usual, a bunch of creators are all shouting at each other about who should be racing. That's just one day you might get to see the VCs, Josh. You've seen them. Like, just tell our audience how crazy some of these VCs can be sometimes. Yes,
it is so chaotic. I mean, I remember just a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the 10v10 event, when you had two teams of drivers fighting against each other. Those VCs were so chaotic. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting place to be, I would say.
I love it. Well, I think we are pretty much ready to go. So the two Toms, I hope you have a banging 70 odd laps, and let's see who wins.
Well, here we go then, folks. Formation lap is underway. 78 laps in the Principality, with rumours of a storm coming in about an hour and a half's time. It's not going to be any light rain. There are stormy conditions just south of France. They are rolling their way across the ocean down towards where we are in the south of France. We've been told and had it confirmed after a very late VAR check that Tom does remain in the race. Fabio will not be taking part, so he will be sent back to the changing rooms to get ready for Barcelona. But for the time being, Tom, the quite literally last-minute reserve that was never planned to come and race, will start us from the front, and he's starting on hard tyres.
The clutchest of quali laps, but it's going to be interesting to see how quickly he can get those hard tyres fired up. They're not quite as overpowered as they were in the ground effect era of this game. The mediums and the soft tyres, softs in particular, have been made a lot better. We've already got the classic disqualifications as well, and Matt 212 has disconnected, and the host is migrating, and that could be an interesting one because Hayden's gone as well. Are we resetting?
I think there's been a second VAR check. We will wait for that decision as you get us back on the screen for the moment. I'm not quite sure what's going on. I mean, told him, yeah, we're having a VAR check here, so we will just have a brief moment to see what is going on. Hayden has had a game crash, folks, so no VAR check. It's been overruled at this time. I'm going to assume that we're going racing, unless I hear otherwise, as all of our drivers do line up on the grid. Tom from the front, Alex Gillen joins him on the front row. The drivers at the back, both Carlo and Scotty Designs, by the way, both of those drivers getting disqualifications from the formation lap. Matt 212 not going the way it would have liked. Grid Joseph Carlo, Karim 17 Meraki not getting the tyres up to temperature. But here we go, Tom Biener on the grandest of return. No, the session has been red flagged. There we go. So full start. We can take a breath. Time to go to the loo, grab a drink, and we can watch the start nonetheless. As all of our drivers probably know what's about to happen here. Tom, why don't you take us through the chaos? We don't know if we're red flagging or not here.
We could have some drivers doing a madness and some drivers treating this like a proper race. We'll see. We have no idea what's going to happen. Matt 212's back in the session. It's Tom from Alex Gillen, and it looks so far it's all calm and orderly, like we are actually racing. Better start for Alex Gillen on the medium tyres. Has to go the long way around. Tom locking the rears, sliding through Sandoval and sliding back down the order as well, as it's the reigning champion battling it out with the former two-time champ. Gillen comes out on top on that altercation.
Certainly does. Has escaped by 0.2 of a second. Lonnie Noble wants to try and push forward. Hayden Gullis gets back into the session as they make their way down towards Mirabeau, down towards Grand Hotel Hairpin. The Aston Martin of Tom 97 wants to try and make moves early here to try and go for it. We've been told again the red flag has come out in this session, so we're maybe continuing. We're still waiting to figure out what's going on. Safso, though, gets past Chapman. Yellow flag in the back. Shotty Designs, by the way, and both Hayden Gullis dropping places down to 21st. Yellow flag has been thrown. That is going to be a virtual safety car, and overtake mode gets disabled. Ignore the stupid thing it says about low grip mode. EA doing EA things.
It is indeed, and for the first time we can just relax and wait to see what comes on. Hayden and Scotty with 10-second penalties as well for severe collisions to what I can only imagine was under the virtual safety car. I think we are treating this as we're going to continue on our merry way. Good start for Tim at Marduk, already up into P6. We saw Tom getting out of shape through turn 1, dropping from pole down to 5th place, bumped back down to earth the Season 3 champion. Not too many places made by Kareem 70 either. One of the more punchy drivers on the opening lap was still bogged down in the lower reaches of the top 10.
But safety car removed then, and drive through penalty for Ricky 03 as we go green flag racing in towards the opening corner of San Devot. And up the hill they climb. Fimex getting a better jump on Ricky 03. Gillen sets the fastest lap for the House F1 team. I think Kareem 17's had a bit of an issue. He's dropping down the order. And a couple of drivers into pit road. That's Mango Slayer and Scotty Designs, by the way. Side by side further back. That's Rising Chai and Kareem 17. Wanting to try and make the better. The Audi, the new contestant on the field, sending it down the inside of Mirabeau, down towards the hotel hairpin. Gets the move done on Razin Chai as the Alpine of that guy Vince and Sasso's Ferrari still side by side as well as they go through the hairpin, but the Alpine coming out superior stays in 12th place at the moment. But all of our field within a second of each other, with the exception of Timo Marduk, just over a second, eclipsing him, and Concept 7 up in 6th place.
Yeah, Ben had his pocket pinched on the restart, dropping behind the Racing Bulls car. Now with Fimex in the Alpine all over the back of him as well. Ricky 03 coming a cropper too with a drive-through penalty after speeding on the safety car. Restart, worst possible start for the lead Scarlet Ferrari on the road. Ben really under pressure here. Second and a half, he's dropped to Concept 7 now.
Absolutely, it's lots still to go on. I think we've got a couple more drive-throughs as well. By the look of it, we've got Mango Slayer and we mentioned Ricky 03, both with drive-through penalties. I think Hayden Gullis still have that 10-second penalty yet to serve, as we see Ricky dropping down the order, serving that drive-through penalty. So in he will come and almost certainly drop down to 20th place once everybody else makes their required drive-throughs and or penalty holds. We do not see Hayden Gullis serving his, so he is deciding to stay out, at least for the time being. We've got Hayden up past Ricky 03, although battling side by side as they run up by Rivage towards Massenet. We watch up at the top, Meraki on the back of Tom 97, making their way down towards the Grand Hotel hairpin for the third time this race, and through Portier Corner in towards the tunnel. The front four looking very close together. They've got Tom for company as well, and slightly further back, Concept 7 still staying there. We are staying green flag racing here, folks. The race does continue as we go through lap 3 of 78.
Yeah, I think Ben's just starting to fire up those hard compound tyres now as he continues to just stabilise that gap as Chapper's disconnected. He's just been overtaken by Guats and Grid Jokes as well, so a bad 30 seconds or so for the second Aston Martin. But Gillen from Lonanoba, Tom 97, Meraki and Tom Bean are flashing through the final couple of corners. 3 different tyre compounds out there. The leader on the mediums, the 2 behind on the softs. Then you've got Meraki on the mediums and Tom Bean, your pole sitter, let's not forget, on the hard compound tyres. He punches in the fastest lap of the race at the back of the Snake.
Classic Tom coming back with full force. Over one lap, he was the quickest driver here this afternoon as they make their way through the front 3, looking very determined, trying to figure out how exactly they're going to try and make moves here in the Principality. All of them opting for different tyres at the start. We've got Gillen and Meraki opting for the mediums. Ollie Nova and Tom 97 opting for the soft tyres, and Tom as well, as we mentioned earlier, on the hard compounded tyre, which is bizarre that he is, set the fastest lap of the race so far on the hardest compounded tyre available, because we have still got that rain looming in the distance in about 85 minutes or so, as we see side-by-side action, the Aston Martin of Chappers and Calder as well, the Red Bull racing car. You don't often see too wide in the old spec F1 cars. Maybe we're starting to see a comeback and resurgence of this sort of racing here at Monaco.
Potentially, not 100% sure if that's Chapper's AI or whether he has managed to regain control. He is back in the session as Ben continues to be sternly examined by the soft-shod Fimex behind in that Alpine car. Full-time driver this season after making a couple of appearances as reserve at the end of season 12. But Ben, like we said, just stabilising with that gap to the group in front. Yellow flag out at the start of the middle sector. I think that's Scotty Designs, by the way, going slowly on the run down into Mirabeau. But we retain the status quo in that leading group of 5 as we were, and we wait to see who pulls the first punches as Kareem's going backwards, Raz is going forward as well, Fimex going backwards also.
Yeah, backwards, forward, shake it in, shake it out, shake it all about. They are doing the hokey-cokey here in Monaco with 2 Alpines, Fimex and Vince going side by side. Now Kareem 17 wanting to get involved in towards the right-hander of Mirabeau. Down towards the hairpin. Kareem still committed to the 2 wide movement through the hotel hairpin and round the outside of Fimex. Absolutely spectacular from Kareem 17, making not 1 but 2 moves on the Alpines as Vince now tries the better of his teammate.
especially when he's got half a front wing as well. You could just see there, missing the left-hand end plate, I believe. So absolutely superb from the former champion as the two Endstone teammates continue to knock 7 bells out of each other into the Lowe's hairpin, or the Nouvelle Chicane, I should say, actually, as Fimex is going to come out on top side by side into the back corner. Is going to go terribly. Not looking at it, though, as they continue to jostle for position. Is it going to be Vince that comes out on top? No, they keep flip-flopping in the final few corners.
Certainly so. Karim now has his eyes firmly set on Razin Chai just in front of them as they make their way down towards the first corner. Interesting to try and keep an eye. The front 4, 5, almost 6 drivers separated by less than a second. Concept will have to have some work to try and drag himself back in towards that group. And everybody else continuing to battle it out here. We see lots of battles up and down the field, a lot of them watching to see how each other fare. Of course, we haven't had a full safety car yet. A little bit of contact there as Tom 97 rears his Aston Martin into the rear of the Cadillac of Lolly Nova, and through in towards Portier corner they go once again. Gillen still leads and has led pretty much every lap of this Grand Prix so far. We're waiting to see what happens. Yellow flag in the third sector. That's Solly Designs, by the way, making their way through to back corner. Not necessarily the best of runs they would have hoped for, as Mango Slayer does get the move past. So Cadillac now in 21st place. They're both trying to chase down Hayden Gullis, respectively, in that Mercedes Works car. In towards pool section. We watch up at the front. Gillen leading Lolly Nova. Tom Meraki and Tom again as the top 5.
And the two Alpines have finally dispersed as well. Vince and now Safso through on Fimex. Those two Alpine teams were side by side for pretty much the entirety of the second half of the previous lap. Frustrating we didn't get to see it, but Vince up into the top 10. Safso, season 1 champion, of course, following him through as well, as we see this battle forming. G-Watt's trying to scamper off into the distance to leave Matt 2 on 2 and Grid Jokes to battle it out over 14th and 15th. Another yellow flag. That was Mango going straight on into Mirabeau, and I think he may have reset the track there, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think we'll have to get a review on that one. Grid Jokes, they're trying to chase down Matt 2 on 2 at the moment and see if we're able to maybe make a move here. Still teetering across that 1 second mark. We watch here the Ferrari of Safso. It's seen days of old Safso returning here within F1 26, trying to really make moves on that guy Vince. If you remember, at the end of season 11, season 12, we quite often saw a very defeated Safso, one that was never up for the fight, but actually he's come back here in the 26 cars and really starting to put on a show here, isn't he, Tommy? He wants this move on Vince. You can see the determination in him already to maybe try and play with some adverse lines, shall we say.
Had a reputation early on for being quite passive and a very safe drive, but he's thrown that out of the wall. We've seen in recent seasons some much more audacious manoeuvres from Safso, getting a bit more punchy with his racecraft, and he's going to have to show all of that improved ability in wheel-to-wheel action as he battles away with Datkovitz, who, remember, took a victory last season in season 12, finished in P4, I believe, in the championship, his best ever Creator Series campaign. And at the moment for Vince, and still very much under the blowtorch with Safso right up on his haunches. And then this top 5 still continuing as we were. Gillen, Lolly, Tom, Meraki and Tom Biener. But it's now Ben applying the blowtorch to Concept 7 behind those hard tyres. Definitely a fired up now for the former 2-time champ.
Certainly so. And one thing I want to just mention here, Tom, we've mentioned weather sort of as a passive factor within the race. We know there's a heavy bout of rain coming quite considerably later in the Grand Prix. We're 8 laps through. A lap is about a minute 10. If the rain was coming at 90 minutes from race start, this is going to hit right at the very end of the race. Now, do drivers take the gamble that wet tyres are going to be quicker for a singular lap here? Or obviously, they're going to have to take at least 2 tyres here to see them to the end of the race. But at what point do you go and abandon this 3-stop in the hope the wet race rule is coming into effect?
Really tricky one. Hopefully we get an absolute monsoon at the end of this Grand Prix and we can see how that pans out. Tim McMartin did briefly get ahead of Concept 7, but I wonder if Concept straight line potentially the Nouvelle Chicane, because he's now back ahead of the McLaren and did at one stage put a second between himself and the former 2-time champ as Grid Jokes clouts the barrier on the exit of the swimming pool chicane. F1 Alex also whacked the wall coming out of the Nouvelle Chicane as well. So drivers still struggling to get to grips with these cars. Less downforce, as we said, a number of times. We are seeing a few mistakes, a few bumps and grazes with the barriers lining the streets of Monte Carlo.
So Safso now gets the move past that guy Vince. You see that just as they make their way through Massenet and in towards Casino. We watch them all with Grid Jokes, still in 15th place. He's looking rather happy, but here we go. The move that had been made slightly earlier on in the race. Vince down to 11th. Safso holding 10th, but the gap whilst they've been fighting has increased to nearly 6 seconds up the road to Karim 70, who in his own fight is trying to catch back onto the coattails of Razin Chai, who is holding Timo Mardik for random. Yellow flag in that second sector. I think that was Timo Mardik going slowly at the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane. Maybe just a bit of a moment there as he's trying to hold off Razin Chai. Concept 7 got the better of by Razin as they made their way in towards the back corner, the left-hander, where they flow so quickly. Tom still in the back of Meraki as well, so lots of fights going on. The yellow flag, Fimex retires through to back corner. That's going to be a safety car, full safety car, and oh my goodness, F1 Alex into the back of the stranded Alpine, manages to keep the car going as the Ferrari of Riccio 3 swandles on through. Chappers takes avoiding action as well. Alex is out, Alex is gone.
He's out, but he's not out on the leaderboard. So that'll be an interesting one. Nasty one then. Absolutely nothing that Alex could have done. And that is your safety car deployed. There we go. F1 Alex out of the session. Couple of drivers jumping into the pit straight away. Gridjokes with a 10-second penalty. That feels a little bit harsh considering he was parked in the middle of the circuit with half the wheels left on his wagon. As the timing chart now going to have a little bit of a party as Karim 70 apparently down in 21st now. Not 100% sure whether that's the case. It says he's a lap down as well. So answers on a postcard.
Interesting. We'll get clarification of that in the next few moments. Dago Vince has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car as Chappers effectively leads the Grand Prix at the moment. Of course, a few drivers in towards the pits as we look at the penalties at the moment. Yeah, Riccio 3 is making his way out as Gridjoke's car can't decide whether it's staying in pit road or on the main straightaway. But nonetheless, Chappers will pick up the safety car and go past the safety car.
Chappers, I don't think Chappers is the leader still because Alex Gillen still didn't box. I think we've got some desyncing going on, which is interesting to say the least. We did see, before that happened, we saw Tim Martin with a really nice move around the outside of Concept 7 through the Nouvelle Chicane. Razin Chai came through as well. I think now we're starting to see everything jump back all into the right order, thankfully, although somebody's blinking there down the main straight. So it's never fully recovered, everybody, let's be honest.
Reminds me of our Australia race back at the Williams Fan Zone or the Williams Experience Centre back in December. There we go. Alex Gillen now picking up the safety car. Bert Marlander making their very first appearance. Of course, no Aston Martin safety cars here with inside F126. It is all Mercedes making their way through after negotiations and mood. Mercedes, Scotty Designs, by the way, picking up a drive-through penalty as well for speeding under the safety car. So a lot of drivers just being caught out by the Delta here in Monaco, which is interesting for him. Now leads again, according to the telemetry. They can't quite figure out. Alex is down as 16th. Everybody stop the count. Audi are winning. I'm calling it there. Audi win.
This is all looking exactly as planned, I think, is the best way to put it. Dak Gavins also picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Couldn't tell you what position he's in. Lolonoba with a drive-through penalty as well. And Maraki's got one as well. I'm thinking maybe, just hold that thought. We saw the red flag come out earlier on. I wonder if maybe we might be seeing that come out again.
I think we certainly do. But for the time being, let's take our attention away from everything that's going off on the circuit because Josh Richards has had his ear to the ground. Josh, what have you got for us?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we're going to watch what happened to Scotty Designs. You can see in front of him, Hayden Gullis disconnected. He's obviously going to be eager to try and find a couple moves on the opening lap here while the cars are all nice and bunched up. Sees a nice gap approach here on the outside of the hairpin. But as he gets to the exit, it just disappears. 3 cars on the exit there. Mango and Hayden both getting caught up. And as a result, wing damage. Hayden then, I think, reversing into him as well. He picked up a 10-second penalty for that contact, and then the virtual safety car coming out. He had to come in and change his wing. We had a bit of a whoopsie here as well. This was Mango fighting with Hayden as well, I believe. No, Scotty, sorry. As they made their way up the hill, there was a little bit of contact here, and then Mango, I'm guessing maybe a little bit distracted potentially by chat. He does actually look away from his screen there, I just noticed. Goes deep, very nearly taking Scotty with him. Picks up a bit of damage. And yeah, unfortunate stuff there for him. And now the reason why we're under this safety car, this is what happened to Fimex. Side by side in towards the back with Gwatz. Ends up in the wall. The tyres ripped off. And yeah, unfortunate stuff for him. Very nearly, we saw Gridjokes. I think we were on board with him at the time. He approaches the scene, suddenly sees a car in front of him and barely squeezes his way through. Picks up a bit of damage, but just about able to keep the tyres connected to the car. He actually picks up a penalty for a collision there as well. And then F1 Alex, who sees the yellow flag, sees the safety car, full beans in, and then can't avoid it. Another car, actually, I didn't notice that, also hitting the back of him. But yeah, out of the race for F1 Alex there as well.
Well, Interesting, everybody. There's more penalties up and down the field as well. More drivers picking up
Razin's out
drive-throughs.
as well.
Yeah, Razin's gone. Not quite sure what's happened with that one. We told as well in the Twitch chat that Mango's crashed again. Lots of people in the chat are asking for a lobby reset, so it'll be interesting to see. Lottie Nova picks up a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Safso gets one for a collision with Safso, or Concept 7. Gillen still leads. Yeah, Quat's 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a red flag here for the, fourth time, I think, in this lobby. In theory, we're 13 laps through. So as it stands, we'll be doing close to 100 laps of Monaco here today, everybody. I hope you brought some snacks.
Yeah, and everyone in the chat, we agree. Lobby is most definitely cooked. Still no news, though, on whether we're getting a restart, which is concerning, to say the least.
A lot of penalties.
Yeah, a lot of penalties. A lot of drive-through penalties, a lot of 10-second penalties. Scotty's left the session
Aiden's
again.
out.
The timing chart's having an absolute party.
Yeah, surely.
I wonder now, and yes, we are finally. I think we are coming to our senses, and we're going to reload it.
I think that is probably all for the best. We're going to throw it over back to Scott. There's all of us here. Hello, everybody.
Hello, we're back. I was enjoying my relaxation time there, but no, you put 22 creators in a room together and absolute chaos and carnage just comes out at all moments. Okay, we'll let them all figure out if it should be 100% or 50%, blah, blah, blah. With only 13 laps, we probably will just replay the whole race, I would imagine. Oh yeah, biggest question, will Fabio come back in now? That'll be another 5 minutes of bickering, so we'll let them do that. I have to say, other than the... Wait, Gareth, am I allowed to swear? No, I'm not allowed to swear, right? Still no swearing allowed.
This is a family-friendly
because of
Christian
this
mindset.
sugar show that we've been experiencing for the last 10 minutes, put that to one side. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that. Other than like the penalties and stuff, see when we were actually watching the cars race, TK, that was quite good. I feel like we have a good season to come.
I agree. I cheered every time Hayden Gullis got a penalty, but that's more of a personal thing. There was lots of racing going on. It was fantastic to see cars going actually side by side through the Grand Hotel hairpin. And I think, as much as that move might have caused Fimex to crash out, where it was him and Gwat side by side through.
I mean, we could be saying exactly. Are we unmuted now? We've just been having conversations with nobody listening to us. We've just been having. We've been having a chat amongst ourselves. Scott, take it back to the start.
Yeah, let's run it back.
Let's go
Gareth
again.
Allen. Well, because of this sugar show, I'd already asked if I could swear, and I wasn't allowed to swear. So this sugar show is over for now. But what we were trying to say there, what we were chatting about is, yes, all the penalties in the lobby bugged, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, that's EA. That happens all year. Take that aside for one side, the racing was actually quite good there. As TK was saying, like, we might have good potential for some good racing in around Monaco, which is kind of hard.
Absolutely. There's going to be a really good opportunity, I think, for side-by-side action. This is what I was saying when, unfortunately, we were muted. So side-by-side action through the chicane, through the hairpin, side-by-side moments through to back, albeit causing Fimex to crash out. But there's lots of moments where we're seeing these cars, now they're slightly narrower and slightly smaller, having the ability to go side-by-side and actually give some really good racing. And I'm just getting a cool one sec, Scott. Just bear with me. Okay, thank you. Fabio's back, everybody. I've been warned by the FIA race director. He is back.
Oh, it sucks to be Tom, but yes, baby, let's go. Okay, I love that. All right, and Tom Wilkinson, what we were talking about is you were giving us a bit of an update on the damage in this game cycle. And let me throw in another question to you. Do you think someone like F1 Alex should be allowed to start the race again at the back? I would say yes, but I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm always a fan of let's have everybody back in, especially if we're going again from 100%. if it's a red flag. I like to get everyone back in because it's not, as we said a number of times over the years, it's not a really sweaty, serious league. We're coming in to try and create some content. If we have the opportunity to bring people back in and put them at the back of the grid as a punishment for their mistake, I'm all for that. I don't know what the decision is going to be at the minute. We only know that Fabio is coming back in and that we are taking the grid from the moment of Fimex's crash into to back. But you can all, everybody that's been in the chat telling us we need Fabio back in, you can all calm back down now because Fabio is back and he's got a very, very good starting position on the grid as well. So after all of the maladies that have befallen us, everything's right in the world.
But it's Fabs. Like, it's such a high chance that he just DNFs in 2 laps. Like, and that'd be such a great YouTube video. Honestly, what a YouTube video that would have been. Josh, so yeah, we're taking the grid from the Fimex crash. Who do you think anyone's lost out in that? Like, do you think that's the correct decision, or should we have restarted like the actual race start?
I mean, the people who have started on the hard tyres, they're obviously going to be a bit disappointed. The people who started on the soft tyres and have made up positions, they're going to be happy. Overall, though, I think it's the best place to do it from. We've done 13 laps of racing. Why not just take that in and just continue on from there?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to suck it up, right? 13 laps in, it's too much. Too much has been gone. It's just one of these things, TK. Now, okay, let's think about what a bad start Tom with a B had as well. Let's go back to that. Was so unfortunate. He dominated qualifying and Gillen just got that jump, didn't he?
It's a tough one, right? Where you haven't necessarily practiced race starts. I think Tom was never anticipating being in the race, let alone qualifying. We know what a driver he is over 1 lap pace. But when you come to the race starts, they now require that much more revs compared to the 25 regulations. They are a little bit of a different procedure because you've got to wait for the turbo to spool up and then the battery can start to kick in. So they are a little bit more complicated than we saw in 25. So I think that's what's really caught him out there. Obviously, Giller would have practiced. Everyone else behind them would have practiced those race starts to get ready. So I think it's just one of those things that comes with the territory of switching cars.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Tom Wilkinson, what about the fact of, I was going to say something that I completely forgot. And do you know that way I was going to just keep talking and talking to see if it eventually came back and then talk some more and then realize it's still not coming back. So, Tom, what we didn't think about, right? What we didn't think about on this game is that we don't know all the bugs yet. Right, we knew the bugs in F125 and I saw some harsh penalties getting thrown out there, right?
What we should say is there's probably some bugs that still exist that we've been very acclimatized to. And like you said, there's probably some bugs that have been added in with this new DLC that's come about. So it's going to be a learning experience for all of us. And I think the way that it normally works in Creator Series is when we see one of those bugs, usually it's pretty funny. So we can all enjoy that together, unless you're a fan of the person that it affects. And then we do have sympathy for you and that driver.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
if it's a game bug, you know, it's out of your control. A little bit of my heart can go out to that person.
I'm on 1/64th Celine Dion.
And just in case anyone's wondering as well, as far as I'm aware, nothing's changed. Creator Series rules dictate that when a restart like this happens, you can't change the tyre or the setup that you originally started on. We've got setup sponsors. Go look at the setups. But yeah, you're not allowed to change anything like that. But one thing that has messed me over when I was racing in these races is when the weather's a little bit like this, sometimes the weather can change, and I hope we're still on for some rain, Josh. We need the rain, don't we?
Yeah, from what I heard, it was going to be coming in around lap 70, which would have meant a downpour for the final 8 laps. It would have been incredible. That changeover for the final few laps. It's kind of like what we saw, I think it was in 2023, where we just had a sudden downpour of rain and it just confused so many drivers. Yeah, I'm really hoping we still have that coming in. It would be a real shame if we lost on that.
Oh, we better. What I'm thinking, I don't think we're going to lose it. I think it's going to become a lot earlier. If I know my custom weather on this game, and it might be different, but you get 4 blocks of weather for 100% race. And what I have kind of found is they do stick to that sort of 25%, 50%, 75%, right? Sometimes it's even earlier as well. Like, I do these 100% races all the time. It might be different, but yes, what I imagine that we're going to find is we're going to have a lot more rain, and it's definitely going to mess everyone up. If we even get there, TK, right? Who's to say we won't get 4 red flags and everyone just pisses off home. Oh, I'm not allowed to swear, sorry.
Garrett's gone to the loo, so actually you've probably got 5 minutes of free reign to do it. I've got my train of thought here because we've been distracted by keeping this somewhat PG. Hi, folks. I hope you're tuning in. Welcome to the Creator Series. No, the weather's a really interesting one because, as you said, like those blocks are normally preset. We've had races that go quicker. That basically means they come in the last maybe 2 or 3 laps of racing. And, you know, I appreciate Monaco is probably not going to survive without any safety cars, but we've headed to maybe Silverstone or something like that, where there is a lot of runoff area that drivers generally do avoid the barriers a little bit better. So I think in this case, we'll probably see the weather coming earlier than expected in terms of lap time, but actually overall time will probably be very similar.
Yeah, I have to think you're right about that. And are we going to reach the maximum number of safety cars, Mr. Wilkinson? Will we get to that magic 6?
Maybe. I'm hoping that the issues that we had in the first attempt aren't a safety car specific Monaco issue, because if they are, then we're going to be hoping we get no safety cars, because that's going to be an absolute you know what. But who knows?
Show.
Sugar show, thank you. Yeah.
God,
I think we'll see quite a few. We already saw one. It was a big crash as well. That might just set things up. And remember, safety cars breed safety cars. So if we get one, we're more likely to get a few more. Everyone's had a little bit of time to warm up. They might be feeling a little bit more confident. So we could be seeing some dicey moves as well on this opening lap.
Yeah, 100%, guys. And obviously, we do apologise for any of the things that might upset the sort of the running of a race. But you got to give us a bit of leeway here. We're one of the first series to try and do this on the new game. We don't know what the bugs are. I'm sure you are going to find them all out in the next few weeks when you're doing your own races. But we are finding this out on quite a high level scale quite quickly into it. So, you know, all the other series are going to be looking at this, right, over the weekend and seeing what to do, what not to do, all of these things. So yeah, so give us a break if things do all go something's up, and we'll just do our best. But I'm getting told that we will be starting the race quite soon. So yeah, let me ask again, TK, who's going to win this race?
Fabio. He's going to come in, win it, and refuse to acknowledge anything further.
Mr. Wilkinson?
I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to once again say it will be Alex Gillen.
And Mr. Richards yourself.
I am going to jump over. I'm going to say Lolinoba. I'm going to say he's going to beat Alex Gillen this time round.
I love it. Well, do you know what? I'm going to stick with my prediction and say Mr. Gillen as well. He is the man with a plan. We're going to go over to the lobby. Best of luck, guys. Let's see if we get to the end of this.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Monaco. And if there's one thing that us and EA Sports have in common, neither of us know what the bugs are in this game yet. So it's one thing we're going to figure out, hopefully, over another 78 laps of this Grand Prix. We await that green flag. We've had Tom go back to the changing rooms. Fabio's retaken his rightful place in the Grand Prix. Everything is about to be played for once again. Who knows whether we'll have a formation up, because we don't know up here in the commentary box. I'm hoping we do. There's some quite fun facts that we're going to go through.
Everything's got to be reapplied. Setups reapplied. Everybody gets their soft compound tyres back as well, considering we had that lobby reset. They're going to be more important than they were on the previous game on F125 or the previous generation of cars. Take 2, though. Let's try this again. Our super sub Tom has gone back onto the bench. He's come on, he's scored a hat-trick, he scored a screamer, and now he's been benched again as Fabio comes back in to try and continue on the form. And like we say, he's going to be starting, I think, from P5. That's where Tom was before the safety car came out. Really good positioning for him to find himself heading into this race.
Weirdly, one of the best qualifyings that Fabio's probably ever had in the Creator Series as well. Whether or not he's actually done it, that's a completely unrelated point. So yeah, like we were saying, everyone in chat can calm down. Things are back to their rightful place. Fabio is back. This is still his game. This is probably also his DLC as well. So lots to look forward to. Ignore the last 13 laps of racing you've just seen. They didn't happen. We're about to go racing once again. We'll keep you updated with the weather and everything else that is coming in the next few moments. But as you said, we've just got to wait for our drivers to make sure their setups and their strategies are completely applied. And we'll talk more about setups and strategies later from our new setup partner of Go Setups. Use code CS10 for a bit of a discount over there. But Tom, we'll talk about drivers here. We've talked about maybe some early predictions for race win. Who you think is going to be first in the barrier? Because that's what I'm itching to know. First
into the barrier. Goat of the scene, by the way. If you know, you know. I hate it's horrible to pick this one out because you're basically saying which of you do I think is the most dangerous on circuit, which is not necessarily the thing you want to be plastered with. I'm thinking it could be a Hayden Gullis type thing, going for an audacious move. We know Hayden, we called him Hollywood Hayden a few seasons ago for a reason, right? He likes to highlight real moments. He's going to go for an absolutely almighty send around the outside into Mirabeau, get it slightly wrong, and then have a bit of a chat with Barrier.
He does love a good hug with Barrier, weirdly. He's expressed that over previous seasons. But yeah, loves those highlight moments. He loves being in the spotlight, both here at Monaco and anywhere else in the grid, realistically. There was a great moment of him giving himself a medal after giving himself a seat here in Monaco. So you got that to look forward to. There's a meme in the driver's chat somewhere about it. I think there's about 7 of them, actually, over the course of the last couple of days. I think it's tough to choose who's going to be first in the barrier because there's a lot of drivers in here that are either prone to making mistakes or are probably going to get caught up in someone else's chaos. Like Gillen loves a move down the inside, especially into Mirabeau. We saw it a couple of seasons ago where he just got pinched to the inside. Of course, if you remember back to, again, season 7, mentioned it earlier, when we had the first ever red flag here. Hayden was actually on the commentary box for that one. So got to see all of the action, but we have got a formation up, folks. We are just getting ourselves prepped and ready, and this is the complete order then that we are going racing in. So Alex Gillen starts from the front. Lolly Nova will start on the front row alongside him. Row two, is Tom 97 and Baraki. Timo Mark and Razin line up on row 3. Concept 7 and Karim 7T on row 4. And row 5 is Safso and Dat Guy Vince. That makes up your top 10, with the rest of the drivers being Gwatz, Matt 2 on 2, Grid Jokes, Calder, Ricky 03, Chappers F1 with Hayden Gullis 17th, Scotty Designs, by the way, in 18th, Mango Slayer 19th, 20th is F1 Alex TTV. Our DNF earlier from Fimex means he's in 21st. And Fabio, who's not been given Tom's qualifying position, will start from 22nd.
Let's just leave that one and back away, shall we? That's, realistically with Concept 7, we should be on Concept 9 and 3/4 now. He was actually looking pretty racy, though, in qualifying and in the first 13 laps that don't count. Let's remember that one. But strategy-wise, we saw the tyres coming up there. Another really good mix of the hard tyres, the medium tyres, and the soft compound tyres as well. And just going back to the point about who you thought was going to crash, or who we think the first driver into the barriers could be, is that's Concept 7 and a whole host of other drivers being taken out of the formation lap and put on the naughty step. We need to remember, former winner, let's not forget, Kareem 7T, former champion, was the first to bin it properly in qualifying. I don't think too many people would have predicted him, someone who is usually very, very strong around Monaco, to be the first to come across. So that just shows how difficult it is, this circuit in these cars, and how hard these guys are pushing. It can happen to the very best.
Absolutely. Watching with Meraki here, he returns this season to prove that he is no longer scared of Fabio or bottling a race again, as we get all of our drivers now back on to their respective grid positions, all 22 of them in the lobby that we can select down to number 20. If we wanted to watch on board with Fimexer and Fratic, we can't. But nonetheless, 5 red lights is what we await here in the Principality of Monaco for the very start of season 13. We'll pretend that nothing else has happened. Top 97 leaves the lobby. Fimix has been disqualified. And we've got 5 red lights. And the lights go out, and we go racing down towards the first corner. 2 disqualifications already, and it's going to be Alex Gillen and Lolly Nova side by side, 3 wide further back as Timo Mark sends the move from 4th place, makes out 5th place on the grid. He's up to 3rd already as they run up Beaurivage through Massenet corner, and Timo Mark, our 2 times champion, proving why he is so good at this game.
On the button straight away. I nearly died when those disqualifications happened, but we're straight back into the thick of the action, everybody. Alex Gillen still leading the way, comfortable ahead of Lolonova. Not the best start for Tom 97, who continues to leak places. Now down into 9th place as Gwatz goes around the outside, completes the move on the run down into Portier. Now he's got Concept 7 to deal with, who also has not had a particularly good start.
They're not, unfortunately, still side by side, or at least they've sourced themselves out into the tunnel, into the Nouvelle chicane then, for the very first time in this race, side by side further back. between Matt 2-on-2 and Tom 97. Chappers as well, trying to get the better of Grid Jokes. Through that corner, off the runoff zone, we went one of the cars. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go through. Ricky 03 now gets the better of Grid Jokes. They come through to that corner, in towards Larascas then. Alex Gillen still leads from Lolly Nova. Team Erotic still in third place as they run up towards the opening corner of San Devot after first lap carnage. This is Creator Series, everybody. Season 13, unlucky for some.
Second on the grid, down into 11th for Tom 97. The worst possible start he could have possibly had. Meraki still trying to apply the blowtorch to Tim at Marduk, who is looking very racy on his brand new set of the soft compound tyres, trading the hards that he started version 1 of this Monaco Grand Prix on. Now on those soft compound tyres and looking much, much nicer as Lolly almost pushing Gillen there down into Mirabeau.
Certainly so. The front five starting to make that breakaway. Razin Chai just over a second back from them. He's got Safso for company. We mentioned this slightly earlier on in the broadcast where Safso is really starting to find form here. Hayden Gullis gets the better of Daco Vince's AI, putting himself up into 14th place. And Lolly Nova, I wonder if we're going to see the very similar to what we saw at the end of, the midway through last race, where he just sits pretty in second. He isn't too concerned about making moves early on as Ricky gets past Tom 97. Daco Vince's AI dropping more positions down to 17th place. Yellow flag down in the Nouveau Chicane. F1 Alex having quite a possible worst day out. Virtual safety car has been called out this early on. We now are dropped down to just 19 runners. F1 Alex crashing out at the end of lap 13 and again at the end of lap 2. So he's done consecutively 14 laps here in Monaco so far without surviving. We do see Carlo there down in 19th place. For virtual safety car, Tom, everything has been slowed down to 60% pace. I wonder if we'll see any pit stops this early on.
I doubt it. You don't want to throw your strategy in the bin at the first opportunity, really, unless you've really made a balls up of it. But yeah, F1 Alex, I think he's maybe, as that's the session, the restart has been restarted, everybody. We're going third time's a charm. What's that song about, three's the magic number? We're going to have to go for it again. Which I think, as we should mention this, we're having a bit of fun. It is the correct decision.
It absolutely is. I don't know if Josh is ready for this or not, or whether Gareth's ready for this. Josh, if you're ready, can you just say hello? Because I want you to show Fabio's reaction to that, because I know that it's going to be pitch perfect. Here we go, Josh. I just want to see this, please.
Give me 2 seconds. I was just getting the clip. I think he has subtitles on. Yes, he does. We won't be able to hear it, but his reaction is, this has to be a joke, this has to be a joke, this has to be a joke, or this has to be a joke. He says that for about the entire lap, basically. I didn't clip the entire thing, but he literally says this has to be a joke for like the entire first lap.
Interesting. Well, this is, you know what? If you just tuned into Creator Series for the very first time, welcome, Josh. Is there anything more from that opening start that you want to take us through?
Unfortunately, I didn't actually have time. I was trying to get Fabio's team radio ready, and yeah, I didn't have time to get the DNF or anything like that. But yeah, it very chaotic once again, and we go for round 3.
We do. Third time's lucky, everybody. I think we'll bring everyone back in, shall we? Should we get Scott back? Scott, apologies we've interrupted your peaceful afternoon yet a second time.
It's the best part of my week, is I do my wee presenting bit and then I go chill and I just watch the race for a bit. But no, yeah, we're definitely getting utilised tonight, aren't we? Again, these things have not been tested. Who are the tests? Us. We're the ones that have to experience all of this. Okay, hopefully they are getting it all done nice and quick. Definitely something weird with that bug though. The final 2, the added 2 drivers, 21st and 22nd. I don't want to be a pessimist, but that might be a problem. That might be a problem. You know what? How far can we be honest here? We know here, like, do you know what I mean? They add one little thing and it doesn't work and then it breaks something else. Am I right, TK?
Esports ready game, by the way. No, I'm just saying, like, we can't select 21st and 22nd. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Like, we can't even view them. Am I right, TK? We can't view that place.
You can, but you've got to go to 20th and then manually press F6 2 times to go down to 22nd. Every other button has one that you can press to get to it directly. 21st and 22nd, and this has been a thing since 24 when the F2 cars. I'm sorry, viewers, have fun. No, just how?
Sorry, like you're right. Like we make obviously we all do our own broadcasts and all different things, including F1, and we talk about our moans. And this has been something that we and also like again, 99% of the people you're not going to understand this, and it doesn't really matter. But there's not a keybinds for the map. There's not been a keybinds for the map in so long.
Key.
That means we need to like bring up a horrible looking screen for you while you're watching a race to quickly get the map on, and it's I get okay. I'm just moaning. Tom Wilkinson, you get any moans?
I mean, we've seen that noise probably tells you everything you need to know. We've seen in the cool down room, and it's coming to the chat as well. Vince's game now telling him to verify his game files. So that's a new one. I wonder if that was the issue that Fabio was having. I can't remember, but you know, insert the picture of the guy sat in the room with everything on fire around him. It's absolutely fine.
Oh, everything's fine, Josh. Let us know when we've rambled enough, and if you've got anything for us, just jump in and we'll get that shown on screen.
I
Yeah,
will have a look.
yeah. Let's see what
Edit
that
our
DNF
faces
is.
on-
I haven't
the
got
people
anything
in the
yet. I
room
haven't
as
got
well.
anything yet.
Yeah.
I'll have a look and see if I can
Yeah.
find something for you.
See if you can get that with DNF, because F1 Alex might be the luckiest son of a gun around right now. What's that? 2 DNFs and 2 restarts?
I've got some information as well. There is no formation lap for attempt number 3. We could
Yay.
be very happy.
Well, that'll
for
be no,
somebody.
that'll be no problems.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, Vince has had to verify his game files. Who knows what's going on at this point? The rain will still probably come around lap 70 if we ever get there at this point. You know.
Going to rain at the start now.
Yeah.
yeah. It's going to rain at the start. We'll abandon it at lap 50, and that'll be it. We'll get to go home. And do does Creator Series have a time limit? Do you know how in like F1 in real life they have like a time window that they can't? So
10
yeah, so
o'clock.
10 o'clock, right? Okay, so as I say,
get
guys, go
overtime
get a
for
cup of
this.
tea, right? Have a comfort break, get a cup of tea, get something else. Enjoy these next few minutes, because I guarantee you, when we're back in this race, we've got a banging 7 to 8 minutes of racing for you that's coming up. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, and you're not going to want to miss it. And you know what? See, if you like looking at our faces, you're going to see a lot of us tonight, and I'm looking forward to it. Isn't that right, Josh?
Yep. I have just got the clip up as well.
How did
I
know?
believe what has happened here is there was already discussions of the lobby restart at this stage. He says just before they come into the tunnel, should I take him out? And then, oh wait, never mind. I've just realised it's a different car. He straight lines Hayden, tries to get back on the track, I think, and then just hits the wall very lightly. And that's the reason. But I think at this point there was already discussions of a lobby restart coming in. So I believe it may have already been intentional at that stage, and they were planning to restart.
Fair enough. Love to see that. All right. So, yep, call to arms again. If you want to see some of the behind the scenes moments of this absolute sugar show tonight, then follow us on the social media platforms, specifically Instagram, TikTok. You get to see some behind the scenes clips throughout the week, potentially of Fabio just breaking down and speaking a foreign language, because he does that sometimes, and he just does his thing, and I love to see it, and I'm ready to see it again. Tiamat Marduk, Tom Wilkinson, some start, right, for that second race.
It was quite quiet in the first attempt. The second attempt, he was really punchy. Made a great move into turn 1 at the start. Who knows what's going to happen third time around? Will it be somewhere in the middle? Will we have a Goldilocks scenario going on? I don't know.
I have no idea. All I know is that we have a third race start to watch in Monaco. And do you know what? Yes, it is a bit annoying, but I'm having some fun here, to be honest. This is quite funny. You gotta expect it when it's a new game like this. Like, don't get me wrong, the one good thing that's coming out of all this is we all have the slightest, tiniest bit access to EA, so we will be reporting all of these issues. TK, let the people have hope. They don't know it does nothing, okay? Let them have the hope that we might be able to tell someone one of these issues and they might get fixed, right?
We tell people on the daily and on the weekly. Does it get fixed? No, it doesn't. So we've been telling for years. But I've got a sticker to sum up what's happening. I'm hoping my camera picks this up. There we go. That sums up these races.
Yeah, no, I love it as well. But yeah, do you know what? It's just a carnival. This is Creator Series. And do you know what? This is just this is sometimes the risk that you take when you're like, boom, there's a new game out, there's a bunch of creators, let's just throw them in and see what happens. We are finding out what is happening. We have a third race confirmed. They are loading into the lobby, by the way. We will be there. Josh, do you have anything you would like to say?
Bring on the carnage. I hope we see 2 people upside down into Massenet. That's what I want to see. I want to see some rain as well, of course. I'm expecting we're going to get the exact same scenario 90 minutes into the race. Around lap 70, we should see some rain, assuming there's no safety cars.
I love it. In the chat, please let us know who you think is going to win, who is going to DNF first, who's going to be laugh of the week, who's going to be the star of the week. Give us your thoughts, because we all just got to sometimes just have a wee laugh together and just enjoy this cluster mess. God, I'm really struggling not to swear tonight. I'm never usually this bad, but oh my God, TK. You've had a little bit of a rest. Are you ready to potentially commentate on 78 laps?
Yay, let's go for 100 laps of Monaco.
Let's go for the 100. All right, we'll take it away, guys. Have a great one.
Well, welcome back, one and all, to the Principality. If you're just joining us, welcome. You've avoided the last, let's say, 45 to an hour of carnage. We've had a short qualifying. We've had 14 laps, a restart. We've then had 2 laps, another restart. So, if you add the 2 formation laps in, we've done a lot of Monaco already. And we're back to go again. No formation lap this time, Tom, which means we're going to be just as surprised as the audience when we get ready to go racing.
Thrown straight in there. No time to warm up, although we have had 2 races to attempt that already and a whole qualifying session. But yeah, I wonder, the question now is less so what's going to happen and how many laps are we going to get to before the Creator Series podcast comes back.
I miss the days of the Creator Series podcast, because that was always the fun part of doing these shows. You just waffle for a good hour or so, and then eventually it didn't get made into a podcast. It was all for nothing in the end. Fabio is still back. He's like Daniel being thrown into the lion's den. Whether he's ready for this or not, we're about to find out. Didn't necessarily have the best of race start, but of course, starting from the back, he's quite literally got nothing to lose. He hasn't actually started a Monaco race yet, so that's still better odds than probably most of the McLarens at the start of the F1 2026 season. He'll get going today for round 2. Again, better than most others. We're now just waiting for red lights, unfortunately. We can't see the grids. We can't see the countdown. We can see some lovely pit garages, though, and I must admit, they look all right.
Yeah, nice number of people there in the stand. You can see just going through the second part of the swimming pool section. We've got some flags that are fluttering quite slowly, so the breeze must be quite a gentle breeze, just gusting through these streets of Monte Carlo. Some nice texturing on the buildings that just look over Sandoval as well. Some trees that look like they've been planted on top of the buildings, which is some interesting architectural work there. But yeah.
I can't see Bernie Collins on the pit wall, though. I'm sure he had a stand there somewhere. No, can't see it. Unfortunately, maybe in 27. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a pit wall for our pit reporter. Maybe Josh is sitting there somewhere. He just hasn't told us exactly whereabouts it is. But we have been told some good news, everybody. The countdown has started. We are quite literally moments away from going once again. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. We will go racing here in the Principality of Monaco. Hopefully this time we will survive the entire 78 laps, as we have 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. And the lights go out, and we go racing down towards turn 1. Gillen leads, Lolly Nova second, Tom 97 third. Team Monaco again making moves early on in this race, getting past Meraki up to 4th place. Scotty decides, by the way, leaves the session.
Oh no. Hopefully, Scotty, where are you? Come back quickly. No disqualifications just yet. But fingers crossed, we will keep marching on. Razin on the hard compound tyres, keeping places. Look at this. Him and Monaco all over the back of Tom 97 to the outside of Mirabeau. He'll try and sneak down the inside, slide the McLaren down the inside into the Lowe's hairpin. And Tom's going to wall bounce around the outside and hand 3rd place over. And the safety car, at least virtual safety car, has been deployed. And I have no idea what it's for, apart from the fact that Map 212 is now in last.
Yeah, Razman's got past Karim under VSC, so again, not quite sure what's happened there. Can't see anybody that's in distress, and oh my goodness, we're down in 22nd. We found a keybind for it, everybody. Look at that.
Whoa.
It's a magician. Our producer is magic. He is B.O.B. He's got the magic, everybody. So Matt 212 down in last place. He's behind Scotty Designs, by the way, as we are under a full course caution, more commonly known as a virtual safety car. and we're not even 1 lap through this race yet. We are going through the Nouvelle Chicane, turns 10 and turns 11. Scotty Designs, by the way, is back in, which is always good news. As always, the Scotsman rejoins us, and surely, how long is this virtual safety car going to go on for? Because it's been a while, you know.
Bingo time. Who's going to get the drive-through penalty? It's happened every single time we've had a safety car so far. Who is it going to be as we look like we're about to get ready to go racing again? There was a lot of front wing damage picked up in the lower reaches. F1 Alex and Fimex missing half of their front wings. Tom 97 and Tim Marduk trading places under the virtual safety car. Fabio into the pits at the end of the opening lap. Not good news once again. Fabio's going to be sick to the back teeth at the site of Monaco with how this has been going so far. But we do get running once again. Alex Gillen from Lolanoba with Tim Marduk now 2.5 off the back of them.
It did look like both Gillen and Lolly Nova launched considerably earlier than Tim and Marduk there, so I don't want to make assumptions on possible things that might have gone wrong in here, but they certainly launched a lot earlier than the Aussie behind them. We watch here Concept 7 on the back of Karim 7T. Through the Grand Hotel hairpin they will go. Vince still keeping them for company. Grid Jokes teetering over that 1 second mark already, down in 13th place, trying to stay on the back of Ricky 03. We see the tyres once again on the left-hand side as a real mix of medium softs and hard compound tyres in towards the Nouvelle Chicane, just hugging as close to the left-hand side as you possibly dare as we ride on board with, I believe, Concept 7, now Karim 17 on the back of Razin Chai through the pool section and in towards turns 15 and 16. Again, just so narrow to hugging these barriers towards Raskas, and our drivers very close together, not wanting to give up an inch of space. But I'm keeping an eye on the time here, Tom. Up in the top 3, Team Marduk is playing a very close game to being out of overtake mode to our front 2.
Well, look at this. Kareem really applying the blowtorch to the back of Raz, and yellow flags out again. I think that's in the far sector. It's the other Audi of Scotty Designs, by the way. He's jumped back in the session and has clearly made a mess of it somewhere going through La Rascasse. Has Kareem managed to get through this side by side up the hill into Casino Square? Long way round. Very bumpy there. Bit of a tail snap for the Audi, but he won't care one jot about it. Thunder braking down into Mirabeau we fly. Kareem 17, former champion, gets past another former champion, Razin Chai. That is crucial with the Red Bull currently struggling to fire up those hard compound tyres.
Certainly so. I think when he does go with hard tyres fired up, it will be interesting to know. And one thing we haven't talked about much in terms of rain and everything that's coming in later, in the previous 2 races, we were expecting a storm in 90 minutes. Now we're expecting light rain in about 90 minutes. So the storm has kind of veered off slightly left. It's headed towards Spain and Portugal. We're left with kind of the tail end of it. So a little bit of light rain expected towards the tail end of this race. But Gillen at the moment will not be concerned about that, because they know, realistically, if it is coming around lap 70 to 75, you're probably going to try and stick on your strategy to go for the 2-stop anyway.
And I think I almost prefer if it's light rain, because there'll be more of a decision to make as whether you go for the wet tyres that aren't suited to the conditions, or whether you stick it out on the slick tyres, which are equally unsuitable for the conditions. Fastest lap goes for Kareem 70 as he drops Razin Chai to the tune of 1.3 seconds. But look at this leading trio. Nose to tail going up through Massenet and into Casino Square. They fly on the start of lap 4. Gillen from Lolanoba, that was the finishing order. The last time we raced here at Monaco in season 11.
And it was. And of course, we've had, 2 seasons since then, and nothing really has changed amongst the top 2. Both of them have truly found form over the course of the last few seasons. We watched their Razin Chai putting under slight pressure by Concept 7, Vince, Safso, and everybody else behind him, including Ricky 03. So the 5-car battle for 7th place on circuit at the moment. Might see a dive in towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Up at the front, nothing changes. But again, you've got a little car of Karim 70, slightly a kilter from the rest of the fields. They make their way through to that corner, the left-hander, where Fimex met with his destiny, if you can think about 3 months ago in terms of race time now. And we see here Fabio on board in the Williams. Since F125 was his game, does that mean this is his DRT? Karim's out already. Oh my goodness, and that's a car that's pile driven into them. I'm trying to figure out who that was. Was that Tom 97? It is. They're out as well, I think. Facing the wrong way at bare minimum. They are still moving, which is a positive.
That is a massive crash on the exit of La Piscine on the run into La Rascasse. I wonder if Kareem's tried to make a move there. Tom 97, I think, was behind the Audi at that point. Remember, Tom didn't have a particularly good start. He's got half a front wing. The safety car's been deployed. Cross your fingers, everybody, because this didn't go very well last time. But it is still Gillen leading the way from Lolly and from Ben. But that is one of the perennial contenders out of this race. And for the second season in a row, that's Kareem 7T crashing out of the season opener.
Well, it's the Goldilocks race, isn't it? We got shorter than the first one, longer than the second one. This time, the first safety car has come precisely at the right time. We watched the track map there as you see Bert Mylander just parks on the way up Beau Rivage towards turn 3 of Massenet. He awaits I was going to say Safso, because
Yeah.
oh no, here we go.
Not another one. Can't have
No,
reach
another
back,
one.
surely.
Yeah, Gillen is your race leader, folks, if you're just tuning in. Ignore what the telemetry says at the left-hand side of your screens. Safso, as much as I wish for it, he is not the race leader at the moment. There we go. The game has figured out where it is. I don't think Safso's 19th either. Maybe he is. He had to pit. So I think that is actually true. Hopefully, it stays like this. Slolinova in second, Tiamotic in third, Meraki in fourth, and Brazin Chai in fifth place. And again, a very slow lap under safety car in these cars because they're not wanting to, destroy too much of the tyres. Slolinova fakes a pit entry, almost catching others out.
That was a big old dummy thrown there by your reigning champion. I don't think Gillen, especially because he's on the medium tyres, he was never going to be coming in under this safety car. Let's be honest. There is a car stop there, is it? Oh, no. I've been completely blindsided by the fact that that was actually the safety car board. So clearly the glasses I've got, I need to head back down to Specsavers because I'm obviously completely blind.
Absolutely. And yeah, I've seen in the Twitch chat, you're absolutely right. The timing tower does overlap with the logo in the 2026 season edition. It shows content with their work. I'm going to leave it at that before we end up in a rant and probably end up on Twitter somewhere. But Alex Gillen leads from Slolinova. Team Alex still third, fourth, Meraki, fifth, Brazin Chai. Any big moves or shakers? Not really. We've got Tom 97 and Matt 2-on-2 into the pits, and thank goodness Josh Richards has got something for us. Because I'm running out of things to say. Josh, what have you got?
Well, I've got plenty of whoopsies to come. Here we start off with Mr. Bottle himself, Matt 2-1-2. On lap 1, this was the first yellow flag that we saw out on the track. He was making his way through Casino Square, got a tap from behind, I think, actually, so not entirely his fault. Ends up sideways, and Scotty Designs, his AI, decides to park up next to him in sympathy. That was what brought out the initial virtual safety car. Then Scotty managed to get back into the game, and all on his own, making his way in towards Raskas. Been a bit of a struggle point for him. We saw it in qualifying as well. Just loses the rear getting onto the power and has to spin it back around. Next up, we were talking very highly of him, Karim, as he made his way past Brazin Chai, having some incredible racing. Things, unfortunately, not going his way, as we will see in just a moment, but taking advantage of the overtake mode up the hill. Gets to the inside of Massenet. It's a bit bumpy on the outside. That gives him a bit better grip. And then around the outside, heading down towards Mirabeau, gets himself through up into P6. Now we see what has happened here. Initially, I thought Karim crashed and Tom then drove into him. It was actually the other way around. Tom manages to drop it here. He gets stuck in the middle of the track, and that bit of contact you just saw there, we'll go back once again. That contact there is Karim's front tyre getting ripped off. That is why Karim is out. We'll see it from Karim's POV in just a second. But then Tom just gets stuck in the middle of the track. Doesn't want to move, of course, because he doesn't want to hit anybody. Just wants to let everybody find his way around. But he has to eventually start moving because he's getting told in 4 seconds he's going to get disqualified by the game. So eventually he decides to get moving once everybody's gone past. And last but not least, we'll skip forward a little bit for this one. This was what Karim saw. Tom 97, 2 seconds up the road, 2 positions ahead of him, making his way through the swimming pool chicane, nice and calmly. Suddenly there's an Aston Martin sideways. He tries to go for the gap, and there just isn't quite enough room, and that is race over for Karim 70.
I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that is certainly something. If you are just brand new to Creator Series, the curse of the Karim season opener continues, and I'm going to give you some lore here, folks, because there is a lot of history. Karim's been in the Creator Series since season 9. In every single season opener, he is DNF'd.
I mean, the stats don't lie there. How's your luck? Because previously, if you remember last season at Saudi Arabia, it was driver error. That is the complete opposite of driver error. You've got an Aston Martin parked in the middle of the circuit. If you go left, it's a very tight gap. If you go right, it's a very tight gap as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't be playing the lottery with the luck that he's been dealing with in the past. Well, today, realistically, because despite making that incredible move going through Casino Square, not a lot else has gone particularly well for him.
He hasn't. I've been told that he has been advised to go out in bubble wrap if he decides to venture out of the house this evening. And yeah, as only Pete points out in chat, at least it's great consistency over the course of 5 seasons, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 5 seasons, 5 season openers, all DNFing as we watched quite possibly one of the luckiest drivers in the F1 Race Series at the moment, has had 2 DNFs and still is in the race, which is maths that probably doesn't quite figure out at the moment. And interesting to note here, looking at the tyres, so one thing we haven't really brought up too much, a lot of them started on the soft tyre, which I guess makes sense considering they were probably expecting safety cars, and a lot of them have now pitted on to either hards or medium. You can see anyone that's on 6 or 3 lap old tyres, so anyone from 16th down started on the soft compound tyre, with the exception of Matt 2-on-2, who started hard, went soft, and then got hard again. Get your minds out the gutter. So safety car in this lap then, as we get ready to go racing on lap 9 of 78. Hopefully, we'll get the furthest we've ever gotten.
Lap 13 is the magic number for us to try and surpass before we go into the unknown. We venture into the equivalent of Narnia, everybody, because we don't know what's going to happen post then, but it will be Gillen that leads away with the reigning champion in hot pursuit.
Then he does. Green flag flies amongst the circuit. Alex Gillen wastes no time making his way through Anthony Knowles and up towards Sandoval for the 9th time over the course of this Grand Prix distance. He'll try and drop Lolino, but hasn't done so as much as he would have liked in towards the opening corner. Tim Riley still looming in the background. You see Lolino was having a bit of a snap as they went through that first corner. The rear end not necessarily playing ball. 9-lap-old soft tyres on the car of Lollinova. It's 9-lap-old medium tyres on the car of Alex Gillen in front of them as they run down towards Mirabeau and in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin again. I think Lollinova just has to play the smart game here. He doesn't need to do any silly moves. Wait for the safety cars to play their course. And, you know, we spoke about this earlier. Wait for the 6 to come. And then once that's happened, it's a straight shootout until the end.
Absolutely. And we know, because of what we've seen so far, a hell of a lot is going to unfold in the next 70 laps or so. Safso already on the move, has moved up to 16th at the expense of Fimex as we see the leaders through the Nouvelle chicane. Gillen, Lollinova, Tim, Meraki, Raz in the top 5. All of them on different tyre compounds. The 3 in the middle on the softs. Raz, remember, on those hard tyres. That's why he had a little bit of a substandard start. He's going to, again, have to try and fire those hard tyres up as best as he possibly can. Safso on the move again, 15th place now within his grasp as Scotty's pushed down a spot.
Certainly so. Great battle going on down in 15th place. We're right on board with Hayden Gullis making his way through the Raskas in towards the final 2 corners, 18 and 19. And again, after taking some time out from the Race Series and stepping back in at relatively short notice, he loves a bit of Monaco, I must admit. It's the track that he always said when he retired from being a full-time driver, he'd always come back for. And he's stuck to his word most of the time.
He has stuck to his word, and he's been fairly decent so far. The pace has looked pretty darn solid for Hayden there. In the midfield at the moment in P12, but if he can keep his nose clean, he'll probably find himself, come the end of the 78 laps, inside the top 10, which would be a very decent return.
Certainly so. Some good points to score on the board, and of course we remind you, if you are brand new to the Race Series or just tuning in for the very first time this season, points go down for the top 15. So the bottom now 7 do not score points, and fastest lap and a whole host of other accolades pick up a bonus point here in season 13, and that's actually something we probably should go through over the course of this race. A little bit of a lock-up there from Safsa in towards the Nouvelle chicane, turn 10 and turn 11, just trying to hold off Calder for 15th place, the last of the points-paying positions here this afternoon. Scotty Designs, by the way, all over the back of the Rebel racing car like a rash, wanting to try and get that move done early and stay in contention with Safsa. But again, he's under pressure from Fimex in the Alpine, who is, you know what?
Someone's stolen his nose.
Someone has stolen his
there?
nose. It's like, that old joke as a child, I've got your nose. The Alpines have taken that literally.
F1 Alex has got it as well, or hasn't got it. That's the point. He's missing his nose as well. Something's happened. We've got some misdemeanors and some miscreants going on as Fimex with the weight reduction upgrade trying to attack. Same for Tom 97, who takes advantage of F1 Alex despite the reduced weight, but reduced front downforce as well, because it's just air, no downforce you can have when you haven't got anything pushing the air into the ground.
Thieves have really, lowered their game. Back in the 2000s, they stole diamonds from the front of Jaguars. Now they're just stealing front wings from cars and leaving the rest of the nose to try and give some downforce to these Formula One cars. And you never know, maybe if they have to get a front wing change, it might actually work once again. We watch here with Chappers trying to get the better of grid jokes in towards the chicane. And again, Hayden Gullis for company still in 12th place. You won't want to get rid of him too soon. Safso in the distance with Mango, Calder and Scotty Designs making their way through the lead up at the front here. Lolly Nova still just playing ball. He doesn't want to disrupt the status quo because he knows he's on the softer tyre, as is Ben and Meraki. So the longer they can extend these soft tyres to go, the better it will work for their strategy. We're certainly a little bit of contact there. Rebel Racing car of Carlo, I think, was trying to peel into pit lane. That's Mango into the pit. Speeding penalty as well. Side by side between Scotty Designs with 3 wide further back as Carlo drops down the order. He was in a bit of a shuffle moment coming through the Raskas and in towards turn 18. Side by side there between Fimex and Matt 212 to the opening corner. And up the hill they run through by Rivage. And I have no idea what just happened there.
Absolute bedlam at the back. Fabio, for the first time, manages to get through unscathed. So the first bit of luck that he's had so far. Around the outside, we go with Fimex, trying to take 17th place back off the hands of Carlo. Around the outside into Mirabeau. That is absolutely perfect from the Endstone-based outfit. Matt 212 fancies a piece of the action as well, although lights up the rear tyres, a bit too lively on the loud pedal, continuing side by side through Portier. Bit of a pink point at the exit, but Matt 212 to P18. Carlo's dropped down a couple of spots. Emphatic also moving forward, followed by Tom 97, because that's Scotty Designs, I imagine, getting out of the way there through the tunnel.
Certainly so. It'll be interesting to see how it's all faring out. Mango, of course, with that speeding penalty, he will have to serve over the course of this race. He will have to serve the next pit stop, and considering all the drivers have to take all 3 compounds of tyres should it stay dry, that'll be a risk that you might have to run, although, albeit, a minimum 2-stop strategy, I believe, still in effect here in Monaco. Up the hill, Concept 7 being bested by Datco Vince for 6th and 7th place, as they make their way just slightly further back from where we watch on board of Lolly Nova at the moment. They run down the front 2, starting to gain some separation from Team Amadek. It is looking to see how everything is working out. You can see the stops on your screen at the moment. Matt 212 technically has done his mandatory 2 stop here, so I wonder if this is going to be him trying to go until the rain comes, and then he won't have to make another stop in theory unless it's on for wet tyres.
Yeah, he hasn't used the medium tyres just yet, so if he is trying that strategy, it will be praying that the rain comes. Look at this, former 2-time champ under pressure from another former 2-time champ, Meraki, really putting Tim Mark under the cosh into the Nouvelle chicane, but just slipping slightly further back as they go through to back, fly through to back corner still. An absolutely incredible piece of racing talent to throw the car and hope that it sticks as Meraki just clouts the barrier on the exit of La Piscine. They've dropped the leading duo just ever so slightly, been outside of 1 sec, which means, as you've mentioned a couple of times, unless he gets back into 1 sec, which he isn't going to do, not going to have that boost overtake battery mode.
I think we need to just take a moment here, Tom. We've got further than we have done in 2 previous races. Just, I reckon, a quick moment of respect for the first 2 races, just a few seconds silence. We've got further than any other one has inside of F1 26 in the Creator Series, so just a couple of moments to reflect on that. Lovely. Let's go back racing, everybody. Lap 14 of 78. We won't give it long. It is an EA game after all. They probably will mess it up slightly later on towards the end of the 78 lap. We've got Tom 97 on the back of Fabio, 2 drivers that probably shouldn't be where they are in terms of field. Fabio would have been expecting to be slightly further forward in terms of racing, where Tom qualified and then continued to race through. He did, of course, start from the back of the grid, and I'm sure he'll have protests about that one, which is something I'm very much looking forward to going back and watching later.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting watch. Fabio, we know, is always absolutely box office in the Creator Series. Whether it's good or whether it's bad, always one of the best people to watch. 3.5 seconds off the back of Safso. The benefit for these guys is they are slightly out of sync, because that is down the inside into Tabak. Safso pulling moves out left, right and centre. This is peak Season 1 champion Safso we're witnessing here, albeit on the brand new tyres, but he's put Chappers firm in his back pocket. Now can set off after Hayden Gullis.
Certainly. We saw a fantastic move from Safso. We also saw Scotty Designs, by the way, creating new racing lines and track limits in the Nouvelle chicane, which the game did indeed punish him for, as he does peel in towards pit road. He's done 14 laps on the hard compound of tyre, so I'm assuming maybe this is for something a little bit more than tyre, surely front wing damage potentially for the driver down in 20th place at the moment. It will get some confirmation of that, hopefully, from our man with his ear to the ground later on. So I think no damage we're being told, so not quite what he's doing. He's gone on to the medium tyre to see the rest of this race out. Maybe he's just pre-planning the use of all 3 compounds of tyres, Tom. Yeah,
just trying to get those out of the way early so that he can try and work towards that potential rain shower that's coming at the back end. But the gaps out in front continuing to fluctuate. Alex Gillen maybe just trying to scamper off into the distance as the gap extends up towards 2 seconds. The last winner of the Monaco Grand Prix, leading the current Monaco Grand Prix. And he does get right up towards 2 seconds ahead of Lolinoba. Raz and Chai as well, those hard compound tyres looking pretty tasty at this stage of the stint as well. It looks like with the guys behind Alex Gillen, including Dak Gavitz potentially as well, the fastest guys are at the back of that little train, and the guys that are struggling the most find themselves at the front of it. That could make for some very interesting battles.
Certainly good. I'm really looking forward to when we eventually get to the end of this race, because I know when drivers start to push, we're in this sort of management phase, and I hate to mention competitive league racing when we're in this sort of environment, because we all know this is for content, it's a bit of fun. Drivers come here, race drivers for a bit of a laugh. We see this in competitive league racing. The likes of PSGL, the likes of WOR, other leagues are available. But you have the opening stage of the race that is a bit of a procession. They're not going to go for moves yet. When we get down to the final maybe 10, 15, 20 laps in this scenario, everyone just kind of removes those blockers. They start to go for the moves, and we start to see some of the best racing that you experience.
Yeah, gloves are off, and Lolly's starting to become a train driver here. Reigning champion. Now got a few drivers coming up to the back of his carriage as they continue to jump on board. Ricky 03 is his former teammate 3.5 seconds off the back, but Concept 7 has joined the back of this tandem group. So from second down to 7th now, and Lolly clearly struggling now on these soft compound tyres. Reigning champion for the first time in a little while, just looking like he's under pressure a little bit. But what can Ben do? And what can potentially the likes of Meraki and Razin do? Remember Razin on those hard tyres. Better compound at this stage.
Ricky into the pits then, first of the default runners, with the exception of maybe a few slightly further back. He is off a set of the soft tyres. Has done 16 laps on them. Scotty's lines retired, and that is going to be a virtual safety car. Everybody drops it as he makes his way through the Nouvelle chicane. So VSC and a full course yellow are out in full force, giving some drivers an opportunity maybe to pit here, but I wonder how many it's going to help. Of course, virtual safety cars have a tendency to go green flag at the end as Mango. How has Mango retired under a safety car?
Yeah, I think he's just thrown it into the wall.
Full safety car.
Thrown it into the wall between the Nouvelle chicane and between to back. So we are upgrading to a full course caution. I would expect to see drivers into the pits. Now, it'll be interesting to see if the nose jobs that Fimex and F1 Alex are currently sporting, whether they get fixed. My biggest concern is how's the front wing being connected to the rest of the car?
Yeah, that's magic. Alex has got wing damage. Gwatz has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Here we go again, everybody. Strap in. The drive-through penalties are so back.
We are so back, everybody. We got to lap 17 this time. Not quite to... we just about managed to surpass the 13 laps we completed beforehand. Maybe that was an omen. We should have read more into that. We got to lap 13 and everything went completely wrong. Alex Gillen, the race leader, the pole sitter, into the pits. And Lolinobi, you would imagine, on those dead-looking soft compound tyres, will follow suit.
Certainly does. Everyone in the top... Well, I was going to say in the top 7, with the exception of Razin Chai, who stays out on hard compound of tyres. He will make his way up towards Bird Mylander, who's waiting once again midway up through Beau Rivage. And this is going to be interesting to see how everybody starts to peel out. Safso stays out, so we'll jump up to effective 3rd place. And Tom, there is not a car there sat on the grid. That is just one of the light boxes. I thought I'd remind you. But thankfully, once again, whilst everybody lines themselves up under safety car, we have got more drivers missing parts of their front wing. We're going to throw it over to Josh Richards, who's got his ear once again on the ground in Monaco.
Well, I've got these clips, and I very briefly had a look at them. It's not at all what I was expecting. I thought both of these were caused intentionally, the virtual safety car and the full safety car. But as we're going to see here, as Scotty makes his way in, he was kind of saying he was a bit bored. He turns in and just clips the barrier. I'm not sure whether it was planned or not. It looks like he might have accelerated a little bit. But yeah, out of the race for Scotty Designs. The one that is a little bit sillier, Mango decides to stop. He says upgrade it. He wants to upgrade it. Let's upgrade it. Wait, we've got to upgrade it somewhere else. He moves and he drives straight into the wall. And that is how he is out. And that is why we have a safety car. It was not because he stopped on track or crashed intentionally. He just drove into the wall.
I think that is what can be described as Mango Loco, everybody. That is what's happened here on the streets of the Principality. Anything else for us, Josh? Was there more than these 2 moments?
There was one more. We'll watch it back briefly. This was the battle that Kelda had earlier on. We were watching it, I believe, on the stream. So Mango decides to come into the pits. Kelda's on the inside. So bit of contact, and then this was just the chaos as everybody trying to get past. Bit of contact here, bit of contact there, bit of contact everywhere. Infrati goes through, Tom 97 goes through, Matt 212 and Fimex battling behind. I mean, this was some incredible racing while we were watching it. But yeah, making their way up the hill now. I can't remember if anything else happens further on. We'll just speed it up a little bit and see what else we have going on. We've got Fimex now looking, I think, around the outside here as well, as we make our way down towards Massenet. Down towards Mirabeau, sorry. And yeah, I mean, this was some incredible battling, and people who say we can't get overtaking in Monaco, I think this is proving them wrong, because we've just seen 4, maybe 5 cars. I think Mad 212 does get through 5 cars getting past in 1 lap.
I think this is also a massive trial by fire for themselves here. Like, not only have they come into a deceptively quick lobby, and a lot of drivers that join the British Series say this, they watch it, you know, externally they watch it as a fan and go, oh, you know what, I reckon I'll be able to keep up with this here. It looks not too bad. The racing's not too competitive. And quite a lot of them will come into the lobby and go, actually, you know what, these guys are bloody fast. And it catches them out. I think Carlo's really sort of been experiencing that. And to add to that, also, he's headed to Monaco. But Tom, safety car in this lap then. We've got 19 of the 22 runners remaining. What do you think is going to happen now? We're on about lap 20.
Audi's going to turn back to Sauber, judging by how this has gone so far for the 2 Audi cars. But Razin staying out on those hard tyres that he started the race on, still needs to make a couple of stops, unless we do see rain right at the end of this one. It'll be fascinating to see how Gillen, how Sapso, who also stayed out, plays this. Tom 97 in practice also making the way forward, staying out under the safety car.
Certainly so. Here we go then. Green flag running back in Monaco. It's Razin Chai that leads us down towards Saint-Devote for the very first time. Alex Gillen will remain in second place, of course, pitting onto hard tyres. See how this race, both Alpine scrapping. That's Vince getting past Fimex. Up for 9th place, they run up the hill towards Massenet and in towards Casino Square, and that's for company. That is going to be Concept 7. Timo Mardek gets the better of Tom 97, takes the outside line through Casino Square and down towards Mirabeau they run. Lovely stuff from our 2-time champion here in the Creator Series, Sapso, in 3rd place, just on the back of Alex Gillen. Did also opt to pit, but many laps ago. Has done the required stop off the softs onto the mediums. But is currently running on 16-lap-old tyres, which could explain the reason why he's up in, well, now 3rd place.
Doing a good job, though. It's been punchy, as we saw before the second safety car came out. Lodenoba then comes in Fratic. 3 former Ferrari drivers in 4th, 5th, 6th, and actually 7th with Tom 97 as well, chasing after the current Ferrari driver in Sapso. We've already seen Ben pull off a lovely move to put Tom 97 in his back pocket. Will he try the same going into the Rascas? Getting very close. He's going to down with the nose to the inside, just finds a pocket of space. Slightly late on the brakes. Eventually, Fabio has to relent, and that is top 5 returning for our Australian ace.
Certainly is. And look who's got in front of him, Lodenoba, the driver who was battling oh so fiercely at the end of last season. Tom 97 getting the better of him, Fratic as well, up to 6. So Fabio falling down the order once again. He'll find himself in 7th at the end, or the midway point of lap 21. We are encroaching very typically towards the midpoint of this race. I don't want to alarm you, but we might actually get to the end of lap 78 here, with rain expected now in 45 minutes. You can do the maths. I think that's about 40 or so laps from this point. It's probably around lap 60. We're expecting that to come in. It is only light rain though, so maybe makes that jump a little bit more treacherous. Sapso with a massive tail snap as they came down in towards Portier Corner. Guatz has retired. I think that is on track as they made their way down the start-finish straight. So we'll have one less Williams in here.
Look at Gillen all over the back of Razin. Had a little look to the inside into the Nouvelle chicane. This is where the battery games are going to start to be played. Razin leading the way, 17-lap older hard tyres compared to the brand new ones that Alex Gillen has strapped on. Tim Martin looking racy as well. Medium tyres for the McLaren, hard tyres only for the Cadillac of Lodenoba. I thought we were going to see the move again. Deja vu down the inside into the Rascas, but Ben once again looking punchy, almost pushing Lloyd through the final corner, saying, come on, get on with it, mate.
Ricci as well, getting better. Riccio 3. He makes his way up towards 11th place, and more points in his championship crusade. Was not here last time in season 12 to defend his championship, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Meraki back with a vengeance in towards Casino for the 22nd time. The yellow flags are finally cleared, so of course that got cause one. I think it was when Guatz did go slowly, but in towards Mirabeau and down towards Grand Hotel Heaven. Tim Mardek really tentative on the brakes, not wanting to get any damage from the Cadillac of Lodenoba in front of the front 4. Really wanting to try and work their way through. Top 97, 1.2 seconds off the back, so the front 5 have managed to find some separation here as they make their way through down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. The front two also finding separation from Sapso, which Lottie Nova will not take lightly. He'll want to try and get this move done as quick as he possibly can. And in towards to back, their Cadillac was really maybe looking for a move, getting in the mirrors of Sapso.
Sapso struggling. He was wide going through Portier. Left him open to a potential attack from Ollie down to the chicane. Here comes Ben again to the inside of Larascas. Bit of a bump and run as he tries to barge his way past Lolanova. Not satisfied with one place as Sapso could cover Cropper as well. And Tiermemard are getting his elbows out. 2 places made up in the last 2 corners. And the reigning champ is going to follow in the footsteps of the Papaya McLaren.
Certainly a fantastic move, and one that proves why Tiermemard has been not a once but a twice champion here in the Creator Series, looking again maybe to go for the championship charge in season 13. You know, you don't want to say it's too early to go for it, but with 14 rounds of racing that take us up and down east to west of this globe that we live on, you never know. Tiermemard might try and go for the trifecta of championships. He's got both Gillen and Razin Chai in front of him, drivers that he both knows well over a number of competitive seasons of racing. You can see the tyre difference here. Razin Chai, 22-lap-old hard tyres compared to 5-lap-old tyres on board of Gillen and Tiermemard, and Tiermemard on the softer compound as we see side by side up in the front, trying to go around the inside in towards the Nouvelle Chicane is Alex Gillen. It'll be a drag race down towards Tabac. There's still side by side contact that unsettles the car of Gillen. Razin Chai holding on by the barest of margins, but Tiermemard wants to try and cover them now. They have closed the gap quite considerably as they run in towards Larascas. We've seen this move before. Tiermemard faced the inside, now looks the outside in towards 18 and 19. Contact between himself and Gillen, running up towards the first corner, but I think he might be too little too late at this moment as Razin Chai takes a breath of fresh air, runs off into the distance, and we'll have to settle down and go again. We run up Beau Rivage again for the 24th time. Alex Gillen now facing a new threat, no longer looking ahead of him. He'll have to look in his mirrors for the Aussie that is well and truly starting to gain on the Englishman.
I will be amazed if Gillen doesn't have damage, has to throw the defensive shape because Ben to the outside, charging round the outside through Mirabeau, has the inside for the Lowe's hairpin. Gillen's been put in his back pocket and through goes the former 2-time champion. Lolanova wants to get involved as well. We're hearing Gillen does have a little bit of damage, courtesy of that little bit of wall that just juts out, the thing that caused Mango in the other Cadillac to fall foul of that, seeing him retire. Ben still cruising up to the back of Razin as well. Does he want it into the chicane? Razin does just hover in the middle of the road, senses the danger from a very punchy looking Tiermemard.
It's still not over though. Tiermemard will want to try and come at him now as they make their way through the full section. The quick left-right and in towards the Rascas. A key overtaking opportunity could present itself. Ben loves going down the inside of this corner. We've seen him do it before. Razin cuts the nose off before the Australian tries to have a chance to, but gets the drag. Tries to out-drag him in towards the final 2 corners of Anthony Knowles. And look at this, side by side now, as they run down towards the opening corner of Sandoval. Surely they're not going to go 2, maybe 3 wide. Razin Chai decides it's in his better opportunities to sit back for the time being, and now Alex Gillen wants to try and go 2 wide as well. Up Beau Rivage to the left-hander of Massenet. Round the outside goes Alex Gillen. Absolutely spectacular move. The inside tends itself through turn 4 of Casino and down towards Mirabeau. Gillen gets the move done. Lottie Nova again having the door slammed on him by Razin Chai, but the tyre differential really paying its prices here.
Can't race at Monaco, can you? Shut up, everybody. We've seen 2 of the best moves so far, and probably 2 of the best moves we'll see all season. Lolly taps the back of Razin, who was really grappling for grip on those ailing hard compound tyres. Gillen just cruising around the outside of Massenet, absolutely picture book perfect. Lolly now has to go the long way around into the Nouvelle Chicane. Razin cuts that one off, gets out of shape over the sausage curb. Enter Tom 97 in this battle as well. You're not going to be going around the outside of the back corner as these guys starting to fan out.
Team radio from Alex Gillen asking Razin what they're doing. He's calling the dirty driver. I think that's pot kettle black sometimes some people would call it in terms of the racing here in the Creator Series. Lollie Nova still trying to get past Razin Chai as they made their way through the final few corners. And again, the drag race as they exit out of the final. Razin Chai goes defensive, goes left, goes right, tries to defend from the Cadillac driver in towards the opening corner. Then he go for an up and under. Oh, contact Razin Chai's round. I think Razin Chai is still somehow going. And there must be damage there. He was sideways. Yeah, complete front wing loss there for the Red Bull Racing driver. And now the grid compiling on him quicker than everything else can happen. Both end place missing for Razin. And I think this could be his race run.
Don't really know what he's doing there. Looked like it was a a bit too aggressive there from Razin, and that's an understatement. To the outside, that's one of the Williams. That's Fabio battling away with Safso. All of them boxed in behind the wounded Red Bull of Razin Chai. Fabio still keeping his nose in there, down the inside into Portier, battling away with Safso. Just behind them is the former two-time champ Ibaraki, sensing an opportunity to get involved. We can't be three wide, surely not. Into the Nouvelle chicane. Safso on the inside. Fabio goes a long way around, chucks it in front, and does hold on to 7th place ahead of the season one champ. Unbelievable amounts of battles going on. You can see the cluster at the back. Chappers, Fimex, Riccio 3, Hayden Gullis all getting involved in that.
Certainly so, all trying to get past the stranded Rebel racing car. Vince gets past Tom 97 slightly further forward just as they head in towards Rasgas. So moves are being made here in Monaco, probably more than we'll ever actually see tomorrow. Razin Chai unexpectedly into pit road then to get that front wing replaced and a fresh set of tyres onto that car. We watch up at the front for P5 and P4. It's Tom 97 and that guy Vince still having a good scrap as they make their way up Beau Rivage, and we can see a car there once again. That's Meraki with no front wing on their car once again. I can assure you he has got a front wing. Mercedes didn't forget to bolt it on at the start of the session, and Hayden Gullis, the rear end stepping out as they made their way through Massenet corner. So one Mercedes missing a front wing, the other Mercedes maybe not having clean underwear at this moment in time.
Yeah, the George Russell simulator, that one for Hayden Gullis there, going up through Massenet down into P15. F1 Alex just in front, although does have a penalty. Then Razin with that damage that he's just fixed, 21 seconds further back. There's Grid Jokes and Riccio 3 debating 17th and 18th, which is, of course, last of the runners. Fabio knocking the rears down into the Nouvelle chicane. Looks a little bit all over the place. Didn't box under the safety car. Let's not forget, Meraki did. Lost out to the guys in front. The likes of Tim McMurdoch came out in a little bit more traffic. Was unlucky with where he was spat out into the order. But looking racy here, does he try? The Tim McMurdoch move into Raskas. Has a look, but Fabio's wise to it.
There he is, tries to switch back potentially in towards turn 18 and 19. Anthony Knowles, not necessarily the best place to overtake Safso into the pits, opting for a fresh set of tyres off of the mediums. We watch on board as he peels in towards the pits. And it is going to be a fresh set of hard tyres, surely, to see him pretty much until the rain comes. Safso has now chosen and run all 3 compounds of tyres as required by the regulations. Within this new season of the F1 Creator Series. Tim Mardick still leads on 10-lap-old medium tyres. Alex Gillen for company just behind him, with Lonnie Noba and Vince not far off the pack at all. We await we're in this lull moment in the middle of the race. We approach halfway to come about lap 39 in the Grand Prix. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see another safety car until that point, and then they're pretty much all used up till race end.
Anything will feel like a lull after what we've just had in the last 5 laps or so. Somehow we've still got 50 to go, and if it couldn't get any more exciting, look at the battle for first and second. It's Tim McMurdoch versus Alex Gillen once again, everybody.
It is 2 very old rivals, ones that know each other like the back of their own hands. We've seen this battle before, and you remember quite possibly what happens when it all goes wrong. I referenced Japan a couple of seasons ago. I referenced Monaco a couple of seasons ago. You know, there's a number of examples where Gillen and Daly have come together, and it doesn't always have the best ending, but I tell you what, it always provides fireworks. If you enjoy the show and not necessarily here for a good conclusion, well, you're in the right place.
Here for a good time, not for a long time. That's the motto we've got to go for here. Lap 29, Tom 97, P5. Jake did actually get ahead of Fabio on the previous lap, I believe, down into Mirabeau, the corner we were just looking at. Here's the other Mercedes. Look at the battery being burnt here. Hayden up the hill, going around the outside into Massenet. And that is a very lovely move to get him up into P13. Razin with the fastest lap of the race. He's going to be fighting it out with Safso, who's just come out of the pits, as you mentioned, for his second stop of the race. That is for a set of the hard compound tyres. Can he go to the end? 50 laps to go. It's possible, but like you said, probably expecting more safety cars. So, yeah, might want to strap on a new set of tyres later on into this Grand Prix.
Certainly will. We'll keep an eye and see what is going on up and down this field. I'm expecting Gillen, and I'll talk from personal experience here, to maybe go for a move as they head down in towards Mirabeau. He likes to favour a move there. We've seen Gullis go for it a couple of times. He's a bit of a quiet horse, bar that spin slightly earlier on. And Lolly Never, again, will happily just sit in third for the time being, wait for this race to, in many elements, start to come into his own domain. And that's where he has been so strong over the course of the season. Doesn't necessarily have win after win after win. And yes, we've seen that time and time again. But it's his consistency and results that really pay dividends when it came to the end of that championship. It was podium, 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 podium. Yes, they weren't necessarily wins like we saw with Ben, but that's where a championship counts. It's consistency over everything.
very rarely makes mistakes, does Alex Gillen. Yes, when he does make mistakes, they're usually catastrophic and absolutely enormous errors. Like, remember a few seasons ago when he went bowling into turn 4 at Bahrain, taking a couple of drivers with him, Tim McMardock being one of them. But usually is so dependable, so reliable, so consistent, very canny, very shrewd operator. And he might be thinking about a move here into the Nouvelle chicane. Battery being deployed, shapes over to the inside, has to go the long way around, but you don't want to be trying it around the outside of Ben into the Nouvelle chicane. He's tried that before on previous F1 games and it hasn't gone brilliantly, but a great run out of it. Has a little look down the inside of Tabac, but that was never on either, was it?
I don't think it was. We'll keep an eye as we get our way through. Approaching half race distance, 39 of 78 will be that marker. I think we'll start to see those tyre changes. Of course, most drivers have done their one stop so far. We expect the second, a mandatory second, until the requirements of the Monaco Grand Prix assume Safso picking up a 3-second penalty there for clear and obvious corner cutting, and that will allow Razin Chai to swiftly move on past as they make their way in towards Tabac corner. And interesting to see how everybody's starting to fare. I don't know if we can pull the stops up at the moment, just to keep an eye on who's made those mandatory 2 stops as of yet. Just keep an eye on. We see a couple of brave strategies. Of course, Watts has done 3 stops after that early retirement, but most of the field's still on 1.
Yeah, F1 Alex has used all 3 compounds. Matt 212 hasn't, despite being through the pits twice. He's still on the hard compound tyres that he started the race on. But nobody else, with the exception of Safso, has used all 3 compounds. Safso and F1 Alex, the names there to think about. And actually, looking at that, no, Riccio 3 as well, down in 17th place, has made 2 stops and starting on the softs, then went to hards and now is on mediums. But I doubt he'll be able to get those 45 laps.
Absolutely. Let's keep an eye as they make their way through. I think most drivers are probably expecting a safety car to come at this point. We know they are very frequent here in Monaco, and we've seen them already a number of times throughout the course of this race, both virtual safety cars and full safety cars. The appearance of Mailander is not unwelcome a sight here in the Principality. Again, just up at the front, you can see Alex Gillen just backing out and awaiting everything to maybe just fall into his arms. He knows he's on the hard tyre, and actually this is, if anything, it's just helping his strategy to elongate the tyres. We're expecting rain still in about half an hour's time, so just over 20 minutes, roughly around like 57, if my maths is correct. Scott Designs has left the session. Of course, did crash out earlier on, has stayed to watch, I would say, his teammate, but Karim, of course, crashing out a lot earlier in this race. Hayden and Finn makes him a good scrap for 11th and 12th on the grid. It's looking close, and again, just remaining in the status quo.
Absolutely, but Gillen looking really racy once again. Ben this time has to go defensive once more. Long way around into the chicane again. Gillen going for the switchback, trying to find the space. It's going to be the run into Tabac corner once more. Ben hovering in the middle of the circuit. Gillen jinking all over the place, but again, not quite far enough alongside to slide it past and force Ben to give him the time of day on the inside into the fast left-hander.
It's looking close, and this is where I think Lolly Nova might try and set up a move. You can see him starting to get in the mirrors of Alex Gillen as they make their way through Raskas and through Anthony Knowles again. And I think it's just a case of when, not if, Lolly Nova sends that move, because he's getting in the mirrors of Alex Gillen, just reminding him what is at stake here. But you look at the battery on his screen there, I saw it for a brief moment. He's sitting about 65-70% charge for the majority of those corners, not necessarily wanting to try and send a move quite yet.
Dakovic looks to be catching them a little bit here. Just over a second off the back of the leading trio. Could be a quartet in no time at all as they continue to scrap very, very hard as we approach that half distance point. It's going to be a fascinating one to see how this one continues to develop and continues to spiral as we wait for those final pit stops to be made shortly as well.
So I'm going to bring Josh in just quickly just to have a chat about what he might have heard on the ground. I appreciate there's not necessarily being eclipsed as we see Gillen still battling out here. But Josh, from your perspective, whilst we still watch the racing going on, what have been maybe some interesting points we might have missed from our point of view?
Yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of carnage, a lot of damage for quite a few drivers as well. We saw the contact between Razin and Gillen heading in towards Tabac. Gillen picked up a very small amount of damage, probably only about 5% on his front right end plate. Razin also picked up a bit of damage there, quite a bit more. His wing was yellow after that. And then we saw a bit of contact later on as well. Tim McMardock fighting. There was a lot of defensive driving from Razin. He was on the older tyres, of course. He had the damage as well. I think getting a little bit frustrated, lost a couple of positions, some great moves from Gillen, from Ben, and then eventually Razin getting turned around, picked up some damage as we got Lonanoba looking to the outside here, still battling on the track. But yeah, lots of drivers picking up damage, as that might also be some damage for Lonanoba as well. We'll have to have a look at that one. But yeah, it's been a lot of battling, a little bit of chaos, and the drivers, I think, just going to have to keep their noses clean for this one.
Something they haven't done a lot of so far, it has to be said. We've seen some outrageous battles, good and bad, in the opening 34 laps that we have had so far. Ben's still leading the way after some really punchy overtakes when the safety car came in. Some bruising overtakes to force his way past Lolly, past Gillen, past Razin, who was in there as well at one point before. Maybe, like you said, a little bit of head loss going on those old hard compound tyres, dropping down the field after making a stop and picking up a hell of a lot of damage as Concept 7 picks up a 10-second corner cutting penalty. Meraki a further 2.5 seconds off the back of this quartet, which is now a group of 4, because Datkovitz has just been slowly weaning away at the gap. He's been about half a second a lap faster in the previous 4 or 5 tours, which has brought him back onto the tail of Lonanoba, which makes his life just that little bit harder. He's now in a similar position to where Gillen is. He's trying to be offensive, trying to go on the offensive to make a run at either Gillen or Tim McMurdoch if you're in Alex Gillen's shoes, but then he's now got to be careful of that car behind.
Absolutely. What do I come back to? Let's keep an eye as we see Concept into the pits. Oh, front wing replaced. What has happened to Concept there? I might have missed that.
I think Josh will be the perfect person to have a little bit of a chat about that one.
I do have a clip of that one coming in just a second. I will get some clips ready for you if we get a break.
I appreciate that. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, and then you and I, the viewer, will get to watch that for the very first time together. Keep an eye on what happens up and down the grid. This is why I love the Creator Series shows, because no matter if you miss something, you're always going to go back and watch. And up at the front, I'll tell you what we have just missed. Lonanoba has managed to get the better of Alex Gillen as we approach onto lap 36. The Italian stallion has managed to get the better of Alex Gillen. That's a very rare thing to say if anybody's getting the better of Alex Gillen. He is one of those drivers that quite often will play a very heavily defensive game, and already is maybe starting to make inroads on Tim Marduk.
I think Gillen was having another look around the outside of the Nouvelle chicane, and because Lolly was really close on that occasion, probably burning a little bit of his battery coming through the tunnel, he was right up on the haunches of Gillen. So whether it was move on the exit of the chicane or on the run into Tabac, which I would love to see that if it was the case, must have been a very punchy move from the reigning champion, who's maybe just starting to show signs of that champion drive. He's been in this lead group the whole time, but hasn't necessarily shown the pace to lead out in front, but he can now apply the blowtorch to Ben in that battle for first and second, as Fabio, a long way off the back of this group in the battle for 6th and 7th, has displaced Tom 97.
He certainly has, and this is an interesting story to tell. Again, Tom 97, one of those drivers that you don't typically expect to be, I don't want to say making mistakes, because that assumes he's done something wrong, but again, a very quick driver on his day has taken those tyres 31 laps, but Fabio's got them on 35 laps. So has got the older tyres in theory. Maybe this is his DLC after all. I don't want to speak it too much into contention or into reality and maybe inflate the ego more than is required. But maybe we are seeing a Fabio comeback.
Yeah, good job. And he is legitimately in P6 as well. Did 1 lap on the soft tyres, pitted at the end of lap 1 for some front wing damage, done 35 laps like you said on those hard tyres, and finding himself in a very strong position. Only got 1 stop left to make, and that is the same for everybody else in front and the majority behind him as well.
So let's keep an eye as we watch on board with Lonanoba, who's gained a good couple of tenths off the back of Tim Marduk as they make their way through Massenet and Darren Casino towards Mirabeau for the 37th time. We're so quickly approaching this half a race distance that it is starting to unfold. We are going to get at least a half race completed, and we are expecting rain in 27 minutes, folks. It is coming. We are expecting more carnage when that rain does start to fall. Of course, drivers will have had, I don't want to say experience on the wet tyre already, because I don't think that's fair to say. But of course, if you remember back to many moons ago, quite possibly over 2 hours ago now, when we had the wet pole competition. Oh, there we go. Concept 7 retired. We have got a virtual safety car, everybody. So brief pause.
Absolutely. And I think, with that, probably a good time to bring Mr. Josh Richards in, wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. Josh, what have you got for us?
Well, we're going to start things off with this contact we were talking about with Razin and Alex. That was the tap against the wall. You can see the MFD pop up. That's the same wall that Mango hit that took him out of the race and at much higher speeds. So I think Gillen very lucky to still be in the race here. That very easily could have been a DNF for him. We then had this battling with Razin. Ben managing to get past on the exit. fighting down towards turn 1. I believe there was a bit more. We'll just fast forward a little bit. I believe something may have happened. Yes, Gillen having a bit of a look to the outside here as they make their way through. Massenet manages to find his way through on the inside for the next corner. Gets himself up into second place. That's how he got past Razin there. Next one we've got is Mr. Razin Chai. His crash, again defending a bit slow through that final corner. And then we're heading down towards turn 1. Very, very defensive contact there as they head in towards the braking zone with Lolly, and then he tags him there. Just moved over a little bit, trying to squeeze Lolly, tags, and I think maybe Tom 97 might have also picked up some damage there. We saw this moment, I believe, as well with Hayden coming up the hill. We caught the aftermath of it. He's looking to the inside of Fimex, tries to go for the move, just understeers slightly wide, gets tagged around. Fortunately, no damage, able to keep going, only losing out on 2 positions. This was how Lolanova got past Alex Gillen. I know we were mentioning it. He is gaining on Ben as they make their way through the tunnel. We'll just fast forward a little bit towards the braking zone. Looks to the outside as he has done a couple of times now. Ben not really leaving much space. Alex goes a bit deep, and that gives Lolanova the opportunity to get the switch back done. And that's how he got through into second. And then last but not least, this is what happened to Concept 7 when he lost his wing just before TK came back. I don't unfortunately have the clip of the DNF, which is why we had the virtual safety car. But he locks up, turns into the corner very, very early, loses his wing, and I think then as well picks up a 10-second penalty and also hits the wall through to back, which nearly ended his race there as well.
I'll tell you what, interesting from the start to finish, and that concept moment, very, very lucky not to end in a crash out as we watch here. Timo Monaco trying to get round in Frasek. He's put fresh boots on with one of the drivers that made a pit stop under that virtual safety car, so now has fresh tyres, hard tyres in fact, and has completed the all-3 compound requirement to see us out until the end of the race, or at least a bare minimum, until the rain does come in. So from our understanding and from what we believe, probably expecting no more safety cars from this point out here, Tom. But Timo Monaco in a very, very strong position.
Yeah, and an interesting strategical call there, because we do know that there is rain coming in around 25 minutes time. So whether the drivers that have stayed out, the top 4, still all of them on hard compound tyres, all of them 22 laps old, whether they can nurse them to the rain, which might come in around 20 laps time, that remains to be seen. And Ben maybe just trying to try something different here, because if they can't go to the end, he's going to be in an absolutely superb position if they do run out of tyres in front. And with the advantage he's got as well, 20 lap fresher tyres, he should be able to cruise through them fairly easily.
It'll be interesting here, and I'm sure this is probably me reading into the rules just a little bit too much, but obviously the rules state if the wet tyres are used, then you don't have to use all 3 dry compounds, which checks out. However, should this light rain come and, be light rain like we've seen in CS before, where you don't need to pit onto the intermediate tyres, or obviously traditionally now the wet tyres, where does that rule stand? Because technically if one driver doesn't use the wet tyres, but it isn't heavy enough rain to stay out, do they still have to complete all 3 compounds? Or would you say going for, say, a hard tyre until the end would make more sense because it's got that lower working temperature to, say, your traditional soft or medium tyre? So we've been told in the chat, it is driver dependent. So yeah, if they don't use the wet tyre, they have to stick with all 3 compounds. Interesting point to talk about, though, when it comes to strategy, I feel.
Which is where it will make it really interesting, because it is going to be just light rain. If it was the monsoon that we were expecting in the first couple of attempts we had at this, then it would have been a little bit more cut and dry for drivers to jump onto the wet tyres. Because it's only going to be light rain, it might leave them with a little bit of a decision to make. Hayden Gullis, by the way, look at this, up in P7, challenging Fabio for P6. Fabio's still out there, 40 laps on his car compound tyres, but I think he's going to have to wave the white flag. But Hayden looking to the inside, who didn't fancy it.
I think Hayden's just playing a smart game. He knows what Fabio is like, and you can see Fabio trying to make that Williams car as wide as he possibly can on the run in towards Massenet, too wide through the left-hander in towards Casino. The Williams just hugging the inside line where he crashed out a couple of seasons ago during qualifying, sneaking through in Razin Chai, or at least he tries to. Hangs it around the outside of Mirabeau to the inside of the Grand Hotel hairpin. The best of friends here, separated by a toothpick between them. And Razin Chai still on the outside line as they make their way in towards Portier. Gets the move done. But I think that's the definition of Fabio being caught napping here as he makes their way through lap 41.
He's got absolutely no tyres left. That's the problem. Because he's done 40 laps on those hard tyres, Razin 15 laps on a set of mediums. Hayden, 24 laps on a set of hard tyres. Fabio's fighting with one hand tied behind his back. He's done a really good job to get into this position. It's now just a case of what are we going to do? Because the rain coming in about 20 minutes, I highly doubt he can stretch this stint to that point. The Safso charging through the field as well. Now up to P9 ahead of Fimex, who's got that nose job you can see behind.
I must admit, top tier. You can hardly notice it. I recommend the surgeon that they use. But as we make our way on to lap 42 of this Grand Prix, I think it's about time here, Tom, that we bring in our good friend and colleague Scott Taylor. We haven't heard from him much over the course of this race. Of course, we've heard from him quite a bit in the breaks between. But I'd love to hear what he has to say over the course of this race so far. And maybe some things he's found funny. Scott, you still with us?
Yes, I am thoroughly enjoying this. Oh, Tom97 just gets a nice little overtake there. Yeah, thoroughly enjoying this race. My thoughts are teammate Marduk might be back, and if that's the case, then you know we're going to have an exciting season as well. Being very aggressive, but in a good way. Razin, obviously, that was a little bit of a kind of shake-up with him trying to be so aggressive. But yeah, I think overall, let's see if the chat agrees with me, but looking at this, trying to be a fair evaluation, this race has been quite exciting. There has been constant overtakes every lap from various amount of drivers, and yeah, we're seeing some good racing here. We'll see how it kind of finishes. But yeah, people in the chat, again, call to arms as always. This is the creator series. If you're new, and we bring some of the best content creators around the world, we put them into a race. They're not necessarily the fastest, but they are the most entertaining and the funniest. We put them all into races throughout the season, and we just see the chaos that happens. Please follow us on all the socials, and please tell your friends about us as well, because we are just trying to have some fun here. Oh, Razin getting... Oh, look at this battle. Razin and Hayden absolutely crushing it. We'd love to see Hayden kind of make any sort of moves. No, but he's going to stay behind for the hairpin. We'll see how that ends up. But yeah, absolutely incredible. All I can say is if this is what the season's going to be like, then do you know what, comms, I am very, very happy.
Absolutely. Lots to look forward to over the course of the season. And whilst this action continues on track, we'd like to take a moment to welcome our brand new partner, the Creator Series. Joining us as the official setups partner is GoSetups.gg, one of the leading setup providers within sim racing. Whether you're racing in F1, iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate, or a range of other titles, GoSetups.gg offers professionally developed setups designed to help you unlock performance and get the most from your car. We're delighted to have them supporting the Creator Series and helping us bring even more value to our drivers and viewers throughout the season. And if you'd like to give Go Setups a try yourself, we've got an exclusive offer for Creator Series viewers. Simply use code CS10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. That's CS10 for 10% off at GoSetups.gg. We thank you, all the team over at Go Setups, for their support, and we're excited to be working with them together throughout the course of the season. Let's get back to the racing.
You shall. Make sure you get involved in that. Best in the business if you're trying to extract those extra tenths of a second. Interesting ad in front, though, because Dak Gavins has fallen off the face of the planet a little bit. 2.5 seconds now, the gap to Gillen and Lolanoba in front. And conversely, you've got Tim at Marduk really romping up. It's half that deficit. Was 12 seconds when the virtual safety car was brought in. Now 6.5 seconds to Meraki and Dak Guy Vince. And they're 11 seconds clear of Razin Chai as well. So this is shaping up nicely. The weather's still holding our hands out from underneath the pit wall. Less than 20 minutes now until the rain supposedly is going to arrive.
It is. It's looming in the distance. I love the helicopter shots that we get around Monaco, especially the banking one as we get through to back. I appreciate that's probably more a camera on one of the high-rise buildings here in the Principality. Top 97 as well, further back, getting the better of Safso. That's just they made their way through to back corner, in fact. As you can see that on the track map at the bottom right of your screens. We ride on board with Meraki making his way through Massenet and in towards Casino on the back of that guy Vince, looming for a podium. Little bit of a snap there as he makes his way to the right-hander of turn forward. Again, Vince as well. Both struggling on tyres, taking these hard compounded tyres over 28 laps of racing so far. And they, not as far as Fabio took them, 44 laps so far as he's down in 8th place, but they will start to be in a slightly worse shape than when they first bolted them on. We'll see how they try and navigate through. Of course, both of them on equal tyres, as are the entirety of the top four. Late on the brakes is Meraki. Very lucky not to get a track limits penalty there for the excursions that he faced through the Nouvelle Chicane. But nonetheless, he will lose a little bit of time to that guy Vince, 1.5 seconds in fact, although he will have the opportunity to gain that back within the next few laps.
Yeah, looks like he just has the pace over Vince at this stage. Obviously, like you said, same age ties for all of the drivers in the top four, but Tim McMahon now less than 8 seconds off the lead, about 3/4 of a second a lap faster than the group in front at this stage, taking chunks of time out of Lolly, out of Gillen, out of Vince and out of Jake. He's going to have to try and get through them quickly, though, you would imagine. Can't dilly-dally, can't dawdle, sat behind firstly that first or the secondary duo of Vince and Jake. And then when he gets up to Lolly and Alex Gillen, because that tyre advantage is so significant.
Absolutely. And one thing I'm just keeping an eye on, and we mentioned this earlier, the clouds that are maybe starting to roll in. We mentioned the storms that have veered off more left towards Spain and Portugal, but we are still expecting a little bit of rain here on the south of France, the coast of Monaco, as we head down towards the harbour where all of the boats sat waiting to crown in their newest race winner here within the F1 Creator Series. And through the Nouvelle Chicane we go for the 46th time in this race alone. We won't mention the first two that happened. They are wiped from everybody's memory, just like in Men in Black. But we run through towards the pool section. Alex Gillen still putting pressure on Lolly Nova up at the front. We just await that rain because we know that middle ground, the decision making between the dry tyres and the wet tyres, is going to be that much more complex here in season 13 with the banning of the intermediate tyres.
And I wonder if anybody's going to accidentally put the intermediate tyres on. Remember when the hard tyres were banned a few seasons ago? We had a couple of occasions where drivers accidentally put the hard compound tyres on and found themselves with an effective stop and go penalty because you've got to get off them within 3 laps, I think, was the rule on that occasion. 2 Ferraris just outside and just inside the top 10. Tom 97 has caught back up to the tail of Infratica. This is Meraki who's caught back up to the tail of Dak Govitz, despite the nose job that you can see, or you can't see technically there. And Tom 97 is up into 8th place now. He has disposed of Fabio while we're watching this. And just there in the background is the flash of Papaya. Tim Muddock catching very quickly.
One thing I am really noticing is Meraki. I don't know if he's trying intentionally to be later on the brakes, but every single time he makes his way in towards a heavy braking zone. There's only 8 of them over this circuit in the total 19 corners. As we now see him in towards the Nouvelle Chicane, try and get the better done. I think he has got the move. Nice and easy done. That guy Vince will have to settle in for P4. But every time he was going deep on the brakes, we saw it into the Grand Hotel hairpin as well, where again he almost went into the back of Vince. And I think it really shows how getting used to these 2026 cars are a bit of a struggle if you just come off the back of the 25 regulations.
And the brake bias is different. You do not run quite as aggressive as you did in the 25 cars. Usually at some circuits you could get away with running 50-50 bias. Now we're sort of finding ourselves in the mid-50s because of the reduced downforce and the reduced weight as well.
Absolutely. One thing I think we'll potentially see a fair bit of in terms of racing tomorrow in the IRL Monaco Grand Prix. We've seen Checo Perez's tyres already, brakes already catching fire during one of the practice sessions. We've seen a number of cars hitting the walls that are so close to the circuit here in the Principality. Not many of our drivers are well accustomed to them, at least intentionally, over the course of the race so far. We'll probably see more of that later on. Of course, that rule still stays in place, the no retiring intentionally, I believe the last 10 laps still of the Grand Prix distance. But Team Hardick now here to put pressure on that guy Vince. It might be a day that's gone from bad to worse as Team Hardick sends it from a mile back in towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Vince, a little bit of contact between the two of them, with McLaren sweeping on past. Textbook for the Australian.
Came from France, that's how far back he was. And you have to say, Vince did really well there. Saw that Ben was coming, left him the space, and once Tim Hardick was throwing it down the inside, there wasn't really anything Vince could have done because of the difference in grip that they've got. And we were talking about it about 5 laps ago as well. Ben can't really afford to dilly-dally, can't afford to get stuck between these 2 cars or behind these 2 cars because they're now 5 seconds off the back of the 2 leaders.
I wonder how hard Jake is going to fight here to hold up Ben, because if he's smart, I think the better option is let the Australian go. He knows it's not his fight. You can see him just making that Mercedes as wide as he possibly can. Ben's got to be cautious as to where he sends the move. Little bit of overcorrection as they make their way through Casino. Goes down the outside in towards Massenet corner. Tries it all the way around the outside as they head in towards the hotel hairpin. And again, just getting the move done a little bit deep though on the exit. That allows Meraki just to pull alongside in towards the right-hander before Portier. But yeah, easy move in the end for Timo Mardik. The extra grip on those new hard tyres, comparatively allowing him the option to go round the outside through Mirabeau and then opening up the hairpin for his ease of use.
Really good, really clinical. First opportunity to try and put one over on Meraki, and he grabbed it with both hands. Are kicking in now. Chase after Lolanova, reigning champion, after Alex Gillen as well. He's laughing at this stage. When he caught up to Vince and Jake, he had managed to get that delta to about 1.1, 1.2 seconds a lap faster than these guys that have not pitted for the second time in the race. Got 20 lap fresher hard compound tyres. Jake with a bit of a wobble there coming out of Antino's as well. Could leave himself potentially vulnerable, but Vince clearly not burning any battery there. And in the final sector, Ben taking half a second out of Alex Gillen, quarter of a second taken out of the pair as well in the middle sector. So he is going to be catching them at quite a rate of knots.
We are still expecting that rain in the next few laps or so. The starting to seeing the cloud cover come over here at Monaco, and the crowd, I think, will start to maybe prepare their own rain jackets. We see it all the time at Silverstone. Think back to last year's Grand Prix, where you saw the wave of coach just start to descend on people before we even figured out it's raining on the circuit. That'll be the true tale if we're watching the IRL Grand Prix. I don't believe the AI, or at least the spectators within F1 26, have got the ability to put rain jackets on, but if they did, we had to watch out for it. At the moment, you see the grey cloud in the background. That is off to what would be the northeast of this circuit. A bit of a surprise one. You think it's the south, but it's not quite the south. It is the northeast of this circuit. So it is starting to roll in from that general direction, and it will only be a number of laps at this point until the rain does start to fall in the Principality. At that moment in time, there's going to be a lot of decision making as to whether you stay out on the soft tyres, the slick tyres that they're currently running, or whether you box for the wets. No intermediates allowed, of course, if you're just tuning in for season 13 of the Creator Series, and we're still predicting around lap 57 until that rain does start to descend. The boats, thankfully, are well accustomed to water. Formula 1 cars, not so much on the other hand.
Yet to see anybody ending up in the harbour, which from everything we've seen so far, I was probably expecting. Not sure if you caught it, but Gillen whacked the barrier going through to back pretty hard, really clobbered it as he just understeered ever so slightly wide. The gap still hovering just under a second, so I doubt there'll be too much damage there, but that'll just open his eyes up a little bit as Ben continues to take chunks of time out of them. Lap after lap, corner after corner, sector after sector. He's going to be on the back of the pair very shortly, and he's dropped Jake to the tune of 3 seconds as well. There's a big gap behind them as well. Razin Chai 15 seconds further down the road as Fimex picks up a penalty. Razin does have fresher tyres than Jake and than Vince, but he's on the medium tyres. That's probably equaled itself out now. 9 lap fresher tyres, 9 lap fresher mediums, probably in a similar ballpark. And he's still got Hayden Gullis to deal with. Hayden doing a fantastic job, we have to say.
He certainly is. And of course, we watch on board, or at least along with Hayden Gullis, as he's trying to chase down Razin. The tyre difference between the two, Hayden is on, I'm going to go 9 laps older tyres, but they are on the hards compared to Razin's medium, so probably in an equal ballpark in terms of tyre wear that we'll see over the course of today. Tom 97, of course, still trying to drag themselves back in towards this fight. It's funny you mentioned the harbour slightly earlier on. When it does rain here in Monaco, the track will have more water than it does in Miami's harbour. That is F1 for you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep an eye on that situation. Expecting rain within the next 7 minutes, because the darker clouds are really starting to encroach. You see it as we head up Beau Rivage. To keep an eye on everything. And yeah, just a reminder that Josh Richards just pointed out in our chat, Alex Gillen does still have that ever so slight front wing damage. Probably not enough to get changed, but I think when he does head in towards pit road to get those wet tyres on, I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe just, I was going to say bumps the wing up, but I don't think you can. Probably most drivers here are running 50 out of 50 on that front wing already.
Yeah, you'd expect they'll all be on 50-50 wings, so not really much wiggle room, but I think Josh said it was only about 5% damage, so he'll be feeling it a little bit, but it won't be too debilitating, because that's Hayden lifting and coasting very early downhill into the Nouvelle chicane. Doesn't want to make that move on Razin. Got Tom 97 to deal with, and then 10 seconds back to Safso, who has just pulled past Fabio, who's still out there. 51 laps on his hard compound tyres, trying to wait this out to get to the stage where the rain will come.
Certainly. And that is going to be the question for everybody. Looks to the inside as Tom 97, the fresh tyres. I think Hayden knows, and you could see it in the movement into Raskas. That wasn't his fight. He doesn't want to get involved in that. So one thing that we want to try and just keep an eye on is Tom 97. Does Razin Chai maybe play the similar game here? Does he think that Tom 97 is fighting him for position? Because actually the fresher tyres are going to benefit him hand over fist over the course of this lap. We round through Massenet in towards Casino. Battle for 6th and 7th on track, and down towards Mirabeau we go. Late on the brakes, contact between the two drivers, and we've seen this so many times before where drivers just a little bit late on the brakes, but because the de-racing of these cars, they're braking that they effectively can run, we're seeing a little bit more contact between front nose and gearbox, aren't we, over the course of this race?
Yeah, just struggling with the new dimensions, effectively, and the new handling characteristics of these cars. Knowing Tom 97, he would have put his hands up straight away there and apologised to Razin for that one. This time, trying the clean move down the inside into the chicane. Razin doesn't fight that one bit. Rolls out the red carpet for Tom, who's now up into P6 on those fresher tyres. 16 laps on his hard compound tyres. But this is the battle. Tim and Monica's caught the two leaders. Somebody in Alex's chat has just said you're about to be devoured by Ben. We'll see how much of a fight Alex really puts up.
That'll be the question. Don't forget as well, if you're watching along on both YouTube and Twitch or wherever else in the world you might be watching, let us know in the comments who you think is taking the race win here as we descend close to 20 laps to go. Carlo as well getting past F1 Alex slightly further back to 15th. This front three could start to run away with it. Should we see no excursions and no bouts? That may be too heavy rain, but let us know who you think is taking the win here in the Principality for the opening round of Season 13 of the F1 Creative. We've got a lot of chat coming in already. Ben, Alex, Fabio, because of course it is his game, Tom. We must remember that. It is Fabio's game.
Must remember that. Not quite the technical abilities there on the loud pedal for Ben as he lift up the rear tyres. Got a bit of a fishtail coming out of the Nouvelle chicane. Hasn't been in too much dirty air for a while, so maybe just acclimatising to that. We've seen the Rascas move a couple of times. Gillen again can see this one coming, but Ben's just got so much more grip. He throws it to the inside to Anthony Nose. Real pinch point at the apex. Ben gets slightly out of shape with the contact made as they meet in the middle. Now using the battery on the rundown into Sandervot. There's another McLaren appearing out of the pits, and Ben can't quite slide the car down the inside into Sandervot as Tom 97 picks up a 3-second corner cutting penalty. Look at this closing speed up the hill.
Using some of that battery, almost certainly he'll have the overtake mode available, and he'll know he has to use it now because he won't have it should that wet weather come. We'll go into what the FAA call the low grip mode. There'll be no chance for the straight line mode to be activated, no opportunity for the overtake of the boost to be activated either. And Tim Monic now wanting to find every little opportunity to get the better of Gillen. We've got more people in the chat saying who they think might win. We've got Maverick saying Ben, but Alex will be smart on the strategy, so he might. Josh as well saying Ben will win this. So lots to keep an eye on over the course of this. Rain expected within the next 5 minutes. Keep an eye on your screens, folks, because I can't tell if there's already a few drops tonight. Maybe not quite yet, but we're so close to getting that moment.
No streaks on the halo just yet, but track temperature is starting to cool. Radio from Ben moving in the braking zone. Not a fan of that one as they continue to renew the spores. We don't try it to the inside, we try it to the outside this time. Into Larascas. Gillen goes deep to try and cut him off again to the inside of Anthony Nose. Ben throws the McLaren down the inside. Gillen bunny hopping over the curb, but I think there's going to be nothing he can do about this one. Eyeball to eyeball as they start lap 56. Alex Gillen tried to duck back down the inside into Sander Vot, but he just didn't have the closing speed there. Ben does get up into second place. Lovely little scrap between the two old sparring partners.
Stunning, but I think most importantly, kept it clean for the most part. There was no major contact between the two. Yes, Gillen might have been somewhat aggressive with the defending, but I don't think much went over the line. There was maybe a couple of moves moving under braking, but of course, no necessary stewards' verdicts or stewards' reports needed here. Within the F1 Craze Series, they must remember it is all a bit of fun at the end of the day as well as we make our way down towards 48 once again. We are quite literally minutes away from having some wet stuff on the track, and I'm not talking about someone who's taken a dip in the harbour. We are heading in towards Nouvelle Chicane. It is now raining on the circuit here in Monaco. You can see the first streaks appearing on the halo, everybody. Strap yourselves in. Make sure you've got snacks. We've got 23 laps remaining here in the Principality, and it's just getting a little bit wetter.
And remember, everybody, intermediate tyres are banned. You cannot run the intermediate tyres, so you're going to have to be very decisive with the route that you take. Do you get on the wet tyres really early and try and use those to your advantage, or do you stay out on your warm, slick compound the tyre and try and stick this one out and see how quickly the rain falls and how quickly it lands on the ground and how quickly the puddles start to form? You start aquaplaning as you try and tackle this circuit in the most treacherous of conditions. And look at this, Ben now closer to Lodanoba than he is to Alex Gillen.
Someone's asking chat, why are the intermediates banned? Because funny. Welcome to the Creator Series. We ban a tyre every other season or so. A couple of seasons ago, it was the hard tyre. We now choose the intermediate tyre, as that is going to be the one that our drivers cannot run over the course of this, and primarily because realistically, whenever it rains, it's always the intermediates that drivers run. We want to showcase the best that Pirelli has to offer. So it is all season. There are no intermediate tyres to be run, hence why Interpole has now been renamed Wet Pole, and I promise I'm not giggling.
It does. And of course, it makes this tyre strategy really interesting because the into the band at this stage, people are going, oh, just chuck on the intermediate tyres and we'll be all fine and dandy. Yellow flag as that's F1 out. It's getting out of the way. Ben almost drops it. Wow, going through to back corner, lights up the rear tyres, code brown, please. And he's got absolutely no rear grip at all there. He's got much fresher tyres than everybody else, but fishtailing all over the place.
We can see how the rain is already affecting loads of drivers already in. Lolly Nova, Timo Martic. Does Gillen stay out? He does indeed. So, wet tyres onto the car of Timo Martic. Wet tyres shortly going on the car of Lolly Nova as well in the Cadillac garage. We'll await for confirmation. They are the blue wet tyres. So everybody's following the rules so far. Chappers is on the intermediates. He's in the wrong tyres. Oh no, one driver's got it wrong right from the very start.
Unbelievable. Not good news that at all. Chappers are going to have to serve that and get rid of those. Dak Gavin's also in for the wet compound tyre. It will be early, too early for these tyres, of course, but they've decided it's too treacherous to stay out on the slicks. As Alex Gillen continues to soldier on, the maverick that he is out in front. Meraki sticking it out there, along with Tom 97 as well. I'll just have to wait to see what the sector times are like.
We absolutely will. Keep an eye to the sky, everybody. We'll see how the rain does develop, whether it's going to get lighter, whether it's going to get harder. Being told the wets are already the faster tyre compared to the slick running as we make our way through. And Alex Gillen's got a choice here. Does he go soft tyre? Because he's either got to go for the 3-stop strategy. He hasn't used the soft tyres yet, or he uses the wets until the end. But if we're believing what Josh Richards has to say, and generally as a rule of thumb, I'd advise you do so. He's a very knowledgeable man when it comes to clipbook and everything behind the scenes. Wets are the faster tyre at the moment. We are being told wet grip mode as well, so overtaking has been turned off. They will not be able to use the boost. Effectively DRS disabled if you want to use the point. Gillen into the pits then. Blue flags being flown. I think that is going to be for some of the rear runners. Carlo into his yellow flag. Chappers retires as they exit through Sandoval. Safety car. Full safety car.
Oh, Alex Gillen. Alex Gillen, has this just come at exactly the right time for you? Where's Lolanova? Where's Timo Martic? I think Lolly's going to reclaim the lead of this one as he trundles down the main straight. Where's the Haas? There's Gillen. I think he's going to take this one. It's going to be a drag race down towards Sandoval. Matt 2-on-2 with a penalty. Ben's right in there as well. Side by side, it's Alex Gillen benefiting from the safety car being deployed. Chappers throwing it into the wall, and he's managed to steal the lead back.
Here we go then. So, one more safety car until the end of the race, and Alex Gillen is surviving by the closest of margins as they manage to run themselves up towards the safety car lane the safety car line at the end of the pit exit. Timo Martic will still hold on to third, but surely the luck for Alex Gillen has to be counted for here. Everybody on the wet tyres. Drive-through penalties coming the way of a few drivers. Both Carlo, we just saw that one on the screen, but also going the way of Matt 2-on-2. Both for speeding under this safety car period. We watched Matt 2-on-2 here. He is on the wet compound of tyre, so we'll have to serve that after the safety car goes in, and we are green flag running once again. We saw this right at the very start in race one. Lots of drive-throughs being handed out, and thankfully not too many. If you haven't got a popcorn ready, get your popcorn ready, folks, because this is, I think it went from okay, this could be a good ending on wet tyres to, okay, everyone's bunched back up again. We're going to have a really good ending.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? Ben's looked like the fastest of our three leading contenders. We don't necessarily know how Jake compares because he was stuck behind Vince for a decent portion of that middle stint. But Gillen now into the lead, reigning champion bumped down to second, and he'll be desperate, won't he, to try and reassert himself. But that was a really interesting crossover point as well, because it's still only spitting. The rain is not heavy at all, at least from our vantage point, but the grip dissipated so quickly, and eventually it did become like a standard crossover point, slicks to intermediate tyres, slicks to the wet tyres, because they lost all form and all semblance of grip on that rubber.
Well, we've gone from light rain to what the game describes as just rain. It sounds bizarre, but actually you've got, I think, 3 levels of rain in this game. You've got light rain, rain, and then storm, from what memory serves. And actually, we start on light rain, we quickly transition just over to rain, which means, you know, you are going to see that point where the intermediates would always be faster. Normally, it's not until you see stormy conditions that's when the wet tyres fully takes over. But obviously, within Formula 1, you don't tend to see those tyres run because the race gets red flagged. But since we don't care about driver safety here in the Creator Series, we're going to let them race and have fun with it.
Yeah, and we're going to let them take their gloves off for the final 20 or probably 15 laps. Maybe not 15, 20 laps when the safety car peels off into the pits. The spray you can just see there is starting to form now. apart from in the tunnel, realistically. Although you can see there's even more spray in the tunnel. I don't know how that's happened, but interesting goings-on. Not for the first time, some interesting goings-on this evening. We are starting lap 60. We're halfway around lap 60. Gillen back into the lead. We absolutely loving that one. It's fascinating to see how Lolly plays this. Will he be really aggressive early on? Try and steal a mark, John Alex?
Certainly will. And yeah, if you're concerned about why there's more rain in the tunnel than there is in the Exeter tunnel, it's probably just a bit of a leaky roof. But enough about that, enough about leaky roofs and wet, damp conditions. Mr. Josh Richards has got some news and some behind-the-scenes stuff for us. Josh, what have you got?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we're going to look at one of the crucial overtakes here for Ben, getting himself past Mr. Alex Gillen. This was heading in towards Raskas, looking to the outside. He's been trying this a couple of times, of course. Raskas, the place where Ben famously likes to make some moves, dives down the inside into the final corner, a little bit of banging wheels, but he gets the exit, and then the run down towards the first corner with some battery, gets himself through up. That got him into P2. He then had a bit of a very scary moment. I've unfortunately lost the clip. I don't actually know what happened to it. Had a scary moment behind Lolanoba where he lost the rear through to back. And then after he pitted for the wet tyres, Tom97, still out on his hard compound tyres, gets caught up behind him. And unfortunately in this middle sector, it is still Monaco. It is a little bit difficult to overtake. He can't find a way through really as he makes his way through the swimming pool chicane. There just isn't the grip for Tom, and then Ben just getting stuck behind eventually dives down the inside into the second part of the swimming pool, and that was almost a disaster. And the safety car coming out here, and that was that. And then this is why we have the safety car. Chappers, who did end up pitting for the intermediate tyres, unfortunately decided to put it in the wall, heading down towards turn 1. Lap 58 of 78, so still allowed, of course. Puts it into the barriers. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for DNF style. That is race over for Chappers, and that is why we have this safety car.
Classic Ferrari shirt activities out in Monaco for Chappers himself. Very nearly, actually. I had noticed this. Very nearly not managing to make himself DNF as he hit the wall head on. You know you've got to hit it at a slight angle to rip those front tyres off. And unfortunate for themselves. We are on lap 61 of 78, so less than 18 laps to go here in Monaco. The Principality has once again provided us some picturesque scenes within modern-day Formula One.
Superb race, hasn't it? Been really exciting as that's the car going very wide. I think that's an Alpine heading out of the way. Was it Vince or was it Fimex? I don't think it was Fimex. So interesting goings on there, going through Antino's. But yeah, and it was also great to see the subtitles, to see Ben's genuine reaction. Get this bus out of the way, gonna have to sit behind him in the middle sector.
I do like that the subtitles auto-censor themselves, which is actually kind of smart when you think about it, but also reveals just how much some of these creators do say some explicit language on their own streams, but each to their own within their broadcast. Alex Gillen leads then during this safety car period from Lolly Nobert from Team Marek as your top 3. It's Meraki 4th with Vince in 5th. Tom97, 3 seconds to his name, is in 6th with Hayden Gullis 7th. Razin Chai in 8th. Ricky 03 with 3 seconds to his name in 9th. And then Fabio rounding out the top 10. And then everybody else has at least a penalty to their name. So I'll go through the names and then the penalty. So it's Safso, Matt 2 and 2, Fimex, Grid Jokes, Calder, and then F1 Alex TTV. And in order of penalties from that list, it's 3 seconds drive through, 3 seconds drive through, 6 seconds. So I don't think either of those drivers with drive-throughs are going to have a very fun time in the remaining, 16 or so laps that we'll have.
No, and I don't think there's going to be any other safety cars either, because I think that was the last one, the one we're currently under.
Yes.
So
that would be my
not
assumption.
good. Taxi for Alex and taxi for Mal. Taxi for Kaider, I should say.
Well, here we go. The safety car in this lap, folks. If you haven't got a drink, you've missed your opportunity. Come back from your loo breaks as well to see how this goes. And yeah, very good point here. Josh Rich just points out in our chat that those with drive-throughs, both Matt 2 and 2 and Calder, are going to be the ones fighting it out for the final of the points-paying positions. Of course, they will be down in 15th and 16th respectively, but Skiller's not going to wait for them. We round the final few corners of Anthony Knowles, and we'll go green flag racing. McLaren already looking to go into the pits. I think that's F1 Alex trying to get out of everybody's way potentially, but down towards the first corner. The first proper approach at green flag racing with wet tyres on, when our field is once again bunched up. Timo Marek, little tap of the barrier through Saint-Devot, and up the hill they run through Beau Rivage and up towards Massenet. The left-hander will loom, and how much grip are they going to have on these tyres? You can see them so tentatively steering their wheels. I wonder if Gillen, I don't think he got that damage repaired, so he will be still facing a little bit of understeer from that Haas car.
It's almost easier being second at this point because you can react to the lines and to the snaps and the little mistakes and the corrections that the car in front had, because Alex is arriving first on the scene, of course. Meraki was under major pressure as well into Sandoval. 3 wide potentially there into the Lowe's hairpin as well, with Hayden Gullis, Riccio 3 and Razin Chai in the middle of them. See the back ends kicking out as they ride through Portier and into the tunnel. Half a second the margin between Gillen and Lolanover. Remember back to season 11, the last time we were at Monaco, Alex Gillen was the winner with Lolanover in second.
Fight for the ages. 15 or so laps to go here in Monaco, and it is so close between our front 2 contenders. Team of Monaco, wonder what is going through the head of him at the moment, if he's maybe just going to sit back and let these 2 fight it out and then take the advantage over the last few laps. Lolly Noba, the rear end, wanting to step out on him and leaving an opportunity for the Aussie to maybe just try and send a move down the inside. We know he favours it through Anthony Knowles, but not this time around. He'll sit and play patient. Meraki nearly a second off the back, but no boost mode, no overtake mode for our drivers to get dividends from. No straight line mode in the entirety of the Monegasque track that we have here in the Principality, so no opportunities for front or rear wing to open for any of our drivers to aid them in straight line speed. We run up the hill once again on lap 64 of 78, rounding through the left-hander of Massenet. The front 3, the train they are forming and starting to run away. Meraki is either going to have to try and put the gas on, or he's going to have to let Vince have it. Team Monaco looking to the outside of Lolly Noba, but again, not quite having the traction to try and go for it here.
Just trying to work it out. You have still got a little bit of time to play with. 15 laps of this race remaining. Time for you to try and work out where you're fast, where your rival isn't, where the grip is, where the grip isn't, where the best place to try and pull a surprise move to catch your rival unawares, pick their pocket and gain a free position for yourself.
In towards the Noel chicane, once again our front 3 protagonists just watching how they drive. Meraki has started to make his way forward just a little bit more and allowing Taco Vince as well. Tom 97, 1.8 seconds now off the back of our front 5. He's got Hayden Gullis for company, which he must be having a nosebleed running up in 7th place at the moment. He loves Monaco. He self-admits that he loves Monaco over the course of this race weekend, and it's hence why he turns up pretty much every single time. It's one of the easiest bets you can make if the Creative Series are racing in Monaco. Hayden Gullis will be there. F1 gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. That was through the Nouvelle chicane at the exit of the tunnel. We still run on board with our front 3. Let us know who you think is winning this race, though, chap, because we just have a feeling all bets are about to go out the window, because anyone in this top 5, or maybe even further down, could end up winning this.
We've had carnage before. We could very easily have carnage again. Line astern coming through Casino Square, down into Mirror. Ben spots the smallest of gaps to the inside. Little bit of contact, and he tries to force his way for the second time past the reigning champion. It'll be the long way round into the Lowe's hairpin. Washing out wide goes the McLaren, but that gives him a nice run on the exit and down into turn 7. He has managed to put Lolanover into his back pocket. He gets out of shape for good measure. Ben spotting the smallest of openings there into Mirror and taking his chance.
You can see the spray is brutal as they make their way through the tunnel down towards the Nouvelle chicane. You've got to try and spot your braking point when you're practically blind, to make your way into not only the daylight, but of course through all the spray as well. It'll kick up tenfold as you make your way out onto the radio section. You really start to see it settle here as you make your way through and down towards the pool section through Louis Chiron and down towards the Rasgas for the 65th time of this race so far. It's interesting to note how all of our drivers are just getting accustomed to the wet weather conditions. Their only experience on the wet tyres so far throughout the course of this race were on a bone-dry track just over 2.5 hours ago when they were originally all going for wet pod, and understandably, all of them now going for the wet compounded tyre. No one expected it to run, and we are maybe expecting a few more DNFs later on. I wouldn't be surprised if Evan Alex does end up putting it in a wall. He is a good lap or so down, if not in terms of actual lap time, but in terms of time. You can see him right at the back there. I believe he is actually a lap down. You can see Kaida behind him just making his way around and eclipsing that 10-lap mark where creators are no longer allowed to end a wall in the barrier. They're encouraged to do it from that point onwards into the pits. Oh, and there he goes. He's failed. How? Oh, we've got a virtual safety car, though. How's he failed DNF, but he's still called the virtual safety car?
What a J-turn that was,
yeah.
Out of the runoff area through Sandavot. I think Kaida's going to get a penalty for an illegal overtake there, but we neutralise things. which is unfortunate because that battle was starting to hot up. And if there's one thing that I have been missing for a little while, it has been a late race battle for the win between Tim McMardick and Alex Gillen.
I'm personally on the other foot here. I would have loved to see that battle just continue. I know it's only a virtual safety car. It's not going to bunch the field massively back up together. But if Alex there retires, and that has caused a... okay, I have just eaten my
full
words.
safety car. It's just been upgraded.
Alex,
you can see in the thing.
Oh yeah, we've got the limit. Yeah.
Who knew? They've changed something. It didn't tell us.
But that's not for the better. I liked having a limit on the safety cars because it meant we stopped all this. If they don't count twice, maybe that could check out.
Oh. We've got another safety car then. We neutralise things, and that means that the potential for this battle to go on, we're going to have less opportunity to see it, unfortunately, with the safety car coming out at that point. But we neutralise things once again. The rain will continue to fall down, making it slightly damper out there and more conditioned to these wet tyres.
Certainly so. The safety car will have their windscreen wipers on. I'm almost assured of that. They won't want to try and drive around here like our drivers. Of course, they only get the helmets and the tear-offs to try and figure out how to go through it. But we will probably go. We've just under 10 laps of racing to go here. It's not really changed anything in the grand scheme of things. Like, as much as we kind of go, oh yeah, it's funny to have a safety car, it's not changed anything in this situation. No one's going to pit because they don't need fresh wet tyres. They know they'll go the distance. We haven't changed the order of anybody in the top maybe 15, with the exception of Alex dropping out and no longer scoring points. I personally didn't see the benefit in that one for anyone.
No, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and we're going to have to wait to go once more. Don't blame Alex necessarily for the decision, because let's be honest, he wasn't going to be finishing anywhere other than 16th, and that is outside of the points paying position. So what is the point in carrying on when you've got absolutely nothing to fight for?
You're absolutely right. We'll wait to see if the safety car does stay out for another lap. We'll go past the sector 2 point. There we go, lovely. So one more lap confirmed for the safety car here, and we're going to throw it over to Mr. Josh Richards. Josh, what you got?
Well, first and foremost, going to have a look back at the overtake that Ben made. It was quite an impressive one, especially in these wet conditions. No more boost mode, so you're a bit more limited on the battery. Makes the dive to the inside, a little bit of wheel banging there, but that's kind of expected. We make our way then in towards the Lowe's hairpin. Deep again for Ben, but he's able to get the power down so much better than Lolly, and that's how he gets through up into P2, which is where he sits currently, in with a very good chance, I think, at the win here, if he can nail this restart. And then we can watch back at the adventures of Mr. F1 Alex. This was his first attempt. It took him 4 hits in total with the barriers to eventually get a tyre off his car. So coming in towards here, we hit that wall there, we hit that wall there. Neither tyre comes off despite both of them hitting the wall. And then we make our way up the hill in towards Casino Square. And then F1 Alex gonna try again. Hits the inside wall here, tyre doesn't come off. Finally, the tyre comes off when he hits the outside wall, and that is why we are now under a full safety car, with I think just over 10 laps of racing left to go.
McLaren have taken a leap out of Apex's Apex GP's book, and they've built the car for combat, almost certainly looking at how indestructible it was there for F1 Alex. Unfortunately for him, there was a limit to the unvulnerability of the McLaren F1 car, and he does find himself out and taking an early shower down in P60. We await Kyle to make his way back to the back of the pack. I wouldn't be surprised if the safety car does head in at the end of this lap. We normally get that notification at the start of the third and final sector, which is just at the exit of Tabac Corner, I believe. There we go. Beautiful stuff. So we go through the left-hander, and we get the notification that race control that we will be restarting on lap 69 of 78. Here we go.
Get your curtains open, everybody, because this is Alex Gillen versus Tim McMardick for the race win around Monaco in the pouring rain.
It's a battle for the ages. It is Alex Gillen versus Tim McMardick, a story and a tale as old as time. And this time, Alex Gillen just waiting patiently to go as he hectors out of Anthony Knowles, puts his foot to the floor, and will go green flag racing for just over 10 laps here in the Principality, and already in towards the first corner. A slight gap has formed, half a second or so between Tim McMardick and Alex Gillen as they just tap the barrier at the exit of Santa Vot and up Beau Rivage towards Massenet. Lap 69 of 78 through the left-hander. Nice and controlled for both of our drivers, and Ben just gaining a little bit of time, a tenth of a second or so, maybe 10th and a half, maybe 2 tenths through that left-hander alone, through Casino as well. I think it's really the corners where Timo Monaco is coming alive in this race, and Gillen seems to have him on the straights for the most part.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic continues to play out. We've seen multiple times that Ben's very happy to try these audacious manoeuvres, and there's a bit of contact there into the Lowe's hairpin. Safso and Fimex debating 10th and 11th. Ben has said before, it's Monaco. If you're trying to make overtakes, there is going to be contact from time to time, especially when you're racing on a game, and especially when you're racing on the F1 games in particular.
Certainly so. We are going to keep a very, very close eye on this battle at the moment. Lottie Nova, I think, could try and cause some trouble as they make their way through to back again. I don't think this race is done with DNFs yet, whether intentional or not, because I think now the rain has started to cause havoc on the streets of Monaco. Anything can go wrong. Carlo gets a 3-second penalty for more multiple track limit violations. That adds to a total of 6 up and down the field for various drivers. Safso gets the better of Razin Chai, promotes himself in towards the top 9, and here's Timo Mardik right on the coattails of Alex Gillen in towards the opening corner, side by side between Razin Chai and Ricky O3 now. In towards this opening corner, Ricky, Safso still 3 wide. That's Fimex trying to stick his nose in. Down goes Grid Jokes, who tried to go even 4 wide. And Timo Mardik up at the front. He's taken the lead of the race away from Gillen through Casino Corner, and the McLaren leads.
What a change up at the front. Where has that happened? Where has Ben pulled that out from? And Alex Gillen's got to regroup here because he's under the cosh massively with the reigning champion all over his gearbox as well. Timo Mardik must have been a big move in the first sector.
Must have been. And now he's got to commit. He's now got 9 laps to try and run away from the infamous Alex Gillen, who knows this, who's done practice. I can almost assure you he would have done wet weather practice because he knows the Creator Series like the back of his hand. He knows any trick that Hayden Gullis will try and play on him. But in towards to back corner, number 12 of 19 so far. You've got to have a heart out for Jokes there because Grid Jokes, he tried to send a move down the inside, didn't quite work, and what was 3, nearly 4 wide, ended in disaster. Thankfully no DNS, but almost certainly a little bit of wing damage on the Visa Cash App Racing Bull. Back up at the front though, the battle is only just getting started, but already a second gained by Timo Mardik and Alex Gillen. I wonder if this is maybe just the front wing damage, just hampering Gillen ever so slightly, because every single corner he seems to be vulnerable.
Has Ben got him covered? Is this going to be the victory? Returning to the colours of Papaya for season 13. Is he back on top in the colours of Papaya? Or is this just trying to burn the battery, put some distance between himself and Gillen, who might now have to start thinking more about the guys behind than the guy that's just pulled a superb move, allegedly, we haven't seen it yet, to try and take the lead away. Lolly has a little look down in towards Mirabeau, but wasn't close enough. Would have been clattering into the side of the Haas if he'd have tried that down the inside.
It's looking close. Lolly Nova, I think, is playing the ultimate. I want to say the team game, but it's not the team game here. Because he's doing everything he can to try and get up to second place. He wants the best start to his championship crusade that he possibly can have. And in doing so, is hampering Alex Gillen. But look at the spray through the tunnel as our drivers are dragging more and more water into that closed-off area. So it's not allowing it to drain out as much as you possibly would like to see. Top 97 right on the rear of the Alpine of Datco event as well through the Novel chicane. Lots to keep an eye on. Still a second separates Timo Mardik and Alex Gillen. Down towards the final few corners, through 15 and 16 they run, and down towards the Raskas. And Lolly Nova is still playing wingman to Timo Mardik here, whether intentional or not, because Alex Gillen is having to play the defensive game to try and hold up second place here at the moment. We're going to get a replay on your screens here. This is the overtake that got the move done for Timo Mardik. We watch the live action in the top right in towards Sandoval for Timo Mardik. He gets a bit of a better run up Beau Rivage. The move was done before Casino turned for the right-hander, so keep an eye. Does he stick it? Once again, the barest of opportunities sends the move down the inside to Timo Mardik, and that is how you take the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Squeaky bum time that. Found the smallest of gaps, threw it down the inside. Gillen tried to hold on, but Ben was barreling his way through, and he has got the lead. He's got a second and a half now in his back pocket.
He has, and now he can run. Lap 72 of 78. Gillen still playing the defence game, and Meraki's even come to join them for company. The second, third, and fourth on this grid at the moment want to end up on the podium. It is looking very, very close in and amongst this field. We've got battles even further back. The likes of Tom 97 wanting to get the better of that guy Vince with 3-second penalties to his name. We've got the battle for 7th place. Hayden Gullis holding up both Ferraris at this moment in time, with Razin Chai wanting to try and get the back out them. I think we saw Meraki just having a little bit of a love tap as they came to the exit of Louis Chiron there through to turn 14, but in towards Raskas. I think Lolly Nobe is starting to feel the pressure of Meraki as well.
This could completely flip on its head. Who's going to fill those final 2 spots on the podium? Tom 97, if he can get a shift on and get past Dak Gavinch, you'd imagine he's got the pace to catch this little trio of cars battling for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Yes, he's not going to finish there with a penalty, but he could really upset the apple cart as well. So many different variables in these final 6 laps that we have to contend with.
6 to go. 6 laps to go in Monaco. Just slightly less than we had in race 1. Slightly more than we had in race 2. In theory, we've already done 100% of race distance here in Monaco. I wouldn't be surprised if Alex Gillen is claiming such a fact if we want to take the reverse back to 14 laps completed so far. But Team Monaco leads 1.6 seconds now to the advantage of Alex Gillen. We're on lap 73 of 78. No break in the rain expected until the checkered flag flies. So it is going to be one of these races that does have to get decided out on the track. The medical car, as Hoodie Pete says in the Twitch chat, is on standby should fireworks fly here in the Principality.
His heart rate's at 180. God, somebody needs to be careful. No wonder he's tense, because let's not forget, the man that has called himself a Monaco merchant in the past has never won this Grand Prix. He's never even finished on the podium of the Monaco Grand Prix in the Creator Series.
Absolutely. It is looking oh so close in amongst this. To finish on the podium in Monaco in itself is an achievement. To finish first, it just takes the cake and takes the biscuit and every quite possible other prize that you'd want to try and take.
Absolutely. He's pushing very hard. Battle still going on the lower reach of the top 10. Razin Chai, who has been unquestionably in the wars so far this evening, up into 9th place ahead of Sapso, who drops down to 10th. Will drop down another spot with a 3-second penalty currently looming over his head, with Fabio within that 3-second delta as things stand. 5 to go.
5 to go, indeed. Lap 74 of 78. This is Ricky 03 on the back of Hayden von der Gullis. Chad, now is your time to let us know who you think is winning. Is it going to be Ben? Is it going to be Gillen, Lottie Nova? Or is Hayden Gullis going to come through in the final 5 laps or so to take the race win? Ricky 03 really putting pressure on the angry bird behind him, egging him on ever and ever further as we head through the hotel hairpin. A little bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes car, and in towards Mirabeau and in towards Portier as well. The final few corners before the tunnel. And again, a little bit of overcorrection needed for the Scuderia Ferrari, running down towards the Nouvelle Chicane, turns 10 and 11. Hayden Gullis going somewhat defensive in towards this corner, not wanting to let the Scuderia Ferrari by. But again, Ricky 03, I must admit, that's a very unique angle when his head's about 45-degree tilt, making sure that he can see all the way past Hayden Gullis's car.
He's one of the people that when you're turning the steering wheel, you turn your head all the way in real life, like almost you're feeling the G-forces when you sat in the sim rig. Matt 212 down in 12, just avoids the barrier there through La Piscine. Doesn't avoid it on the exit though, so a bit of a commentator's curse for Matt there. Another driver that has been in the wars so far, along with Gridjokes, who was an innocent bystander in the collision that we saw a few laps ago that saw him face first with the Armco coming out of Sanderbot. But we return to the podium scrap. It looks like Jake is at the moment a little bit more confident than Lolanoba. At one stage, thought he was really harrying that Cadillac on the back of Alex Gillen. Now it's just dropped off ever so slightly.
He has. And I think this could be the decider of the race so far, unless we see a major improvement from Alex Gillen to be able to try and drag himself back towards the Australian sensation that leads this race at the moment. We have just 3.5 laps to go here in Monaco. And it is looking very close up at the front, but Alex Gillen, for every attack that he takes forward, he has to have a defensive move to Lolly Nova behind. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The first law of the physics, or first law of thermodynamics, whatever it is. There is that moment where Alex Gillen wants to try and attack Ben, but he also knows he has to try and defend from Lolly Nova. But the separation is now there at about a second. So are we seeing a last chance hurrah for Lord Gillen?
Has he got anything left? Because Lolly looks a little bit ragged now. Was on all the wrong parts of the racetrack going through the second part of the swimming pool section. Keeps Meraki firmly up on his haunches going into La Rascasse. As Tom 97, I think, has pulled a move there down the inside into Rascasse. Got himself ahead of that guy Vince on the road. Can he pull those 3 seconds in the last 3 laps? I find it unlikely, but you never know, because Tom 97, as we do know, has some searing pace.
He certainly does. Meraki is on full push as well, wants to try and gap Lolly Nova. Now the separation exists between second and third. We see Ricky trying to get the better of Danko Vince, who's about a second up the road or so. We watch here, F1 Alex has left the session. We saw him retire slightly earlier on. Hayden Gullis as Razin Chai goes around the outside through Massenet in towards Coutinho, where he'll have the inside line. And same further back, Fabio and Sasso going wheel to wheel. The last chance battles now opening themselves up. Razin Chai tries to go to the inside of Mirabeau. The outside line will tend itself for the hairpin round the outside. The Red Bull racing car is going and gets the move done. Fabio does the same, dispatches Safso, and both drivers promote themselves up a place.
Superb racing. Hayden refusing to back down in that scenario. Kept his nose in there every single time. Razin respectfully leaving the space on every single occasion and eventually muscling his way through up into P8. Ricky with a 3-second penalty. That will give him another freebie up to P7. But look at this. Lolly really struggling in the closing stages. Does Jake try enter the Rascas? No, he does not. Was just hovering, ducking and weaving behind the Cadillac. Just a couple of laps to go to try and get on the podium and relegate the reigning champ.
2 to go in Monaco. Meraki still ever closer to Lolly Nova in front. He knows he wants a podium for his first race back in the Creator Series after winning his title. He'll know what he has to do to try and launch his championship crusade at the start of what is going to be a thrilling 14-week calendar where we travel across countries and continents to try and challenge for that title. Here in season 13, Gridjoes gets a 10-second penalty and retires at the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane. The driver down in 15th place. He will not cause a safety car here, as Safso does get the better of Infratic as well as they come through Massenet down towards Casino. They've got Matt 212 for company as well, who is starting to make inroads. I think damage on the Williams car, complete front end plate, complete front wing missing on Fabio's car, and I wonder what has happened there. The Williams car well and truly in the wars, and that is going to be game, set and match that he's going to fall down the order.
You'd expect so, even with the penalties for the group in front. But just over a lap to go for Tim. Malik said he hadn't finished on the podium before. That was factually incorrect. Did finish second, runner-up to Kareem 17 in Season 9, but has never won this race. One of his favourite circuits. He does just whack the wall there coming out of La Piscine for the penultimate time. Gillen a second and a half back down the road. Looks like Jake's assault on Lolly is called as well. One more lap to win the season opener and to take the Monaco Grand Prix for the first time.
Points for everybody that will finish this Grand Prix. The top 15 being awarded them here in the F1 Creator Series. 1 to go in Monaco. Just 14 more corners. Stands in front of Ben and his first ever win here at the Principality. He'll have been dreaming of this day for 12 whole seasons at the start of season 13, where he's always been the bridesmaid and never quite the bride. He may not have won in Indianapolis over an iRacing, but he may not have won a section of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but this surely will be 1/3 of his first ever approach to the Triple Crown here in the Creator Series. He heads in towards the tunnel through turn 9. Gillen still at 1.4 seconds behind. Just now 9 corners to navigate here in Monaco. In towards the Nouvelle Chicane, one of the trickiest corners on this circuit. He navigates it well. 2/10 gained by Gillen, but it's not going to be enough. He'll come through to back corner. He'll hear the crowd start to erupt his name through the pool section. And then the Rascas, the most infamous of corners within Formula One. The rain kept falling, but he didn't let it rain on his parade. As he comes through what will be the final 2 corners, you'll hear us when we say this, as he runs up towards the line for the first time ever. Tim Monaco wins in Monaco.
Look at that. Did you see the move into Rascas, by the way? Jake had a little look around the outside of Lolinova. Couldn't steal it, and Vince does reclaim P5 on the line by 0.3 per second with the penalty for Tom 97. Corner cutting penalty for Infratic. He's got no front wing at all, so no surprise there. Raz in 7th, Ricky 8th, Hayden down to 9th in the end. Had a Matt 2-on-2 who will finish inside the top 10. He won a sprint race here before in F2. Now he's a top 10 finisher in Monaco. Fabio been in the wars, as is Fimex, and Kaiser will be 14th and the last of the finishers. But win number 19 in the Creator Series for Tim McMartick and the first in the Principality.
What a race to remember, and what a way to do it as well. In changeable conditions, he not only is accustomed to the rule set, he used all 3 compounds of dry tyres. He also used the wet compound of tyres as well, so really took things to the next level. And for the first time, as we said, he'll take to the top step of the podium, knowing that he has taken a third of the Triple Crown here inside of the Creator Series with just Indy 500 and the 24 Hours of Le Mans to remain. But for now, Benjamin Daly, you are a Monaco Grand Prix race winner.
There's another record for him to take as well, because with that 25 points, he's the first driver, or 25 plus the bonus points to be fair, because we don't know. He is the first driver to cross over 2,000 points in the Creator Series.
It certainly is. And here are your accolades, and all of these getting a bonus point within the season this year. So race winner Timo Monaco, of course, scores the traditional 25 points. Razin Chai picking up both fastest lap and cleanest driver, so 2 points go his way. Fabio picks up driver of the day, and most overtakes, I believe, was one of the Ferraris. Didn't quite catch who that was. But your top order then is Timo Monaco from Gillen, from Lolly Nova, Meraki, Vince, top 97, Razin Chai, Ricky 03, Hayden Gullis as your top 10. Matt 2 and 2 as your top 10. Sasso, Fabio, Fimex, Calder, Grid Jokes as your classified drivers. And then F1 Alex, Chappers, Concept 7, Gwat, Mago Slayer, Scotty Designs, by the way, and Karim 7T.
We're back. Let's do it, Josh. All right. What a banging race. It's the late night. It's been definitely one of our longer events, going on about 9:30 British time. But yes, what a banger. What a great time. That's all I can say is, yes, it took 3 races to get there, but see, when we finally got there, that entire race had something for us, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there was action all the way through. I think I said at one point, it feels like I've got about 50 clips out of this race. There was just so much going on all the time. And yeah, that was incredible. I do actually still have a couple more clips left to show here. First of which, in fact, all of these coming from lap 76. Hayden Gullis battling away with Razin Chai. Razin able to get a bit of a better run as Hayden sliding out of the first corner. I believe has a look heading in towards turn 3, and then this battle continuing on for quite a while. Razin round the outside here, switches to the inside now, and yeah, very nice respectful racing between these two, leaving you the space. Bit of contact there, but nothing to worry about. And then down the hill now through towards the hairpin. Again, just about leaving enough space there. Razin able to pick up this position in the end as he gets the better exit, heading out of the hairpin. Also at the same time, we had Safso and Fabio battling, again heading up the hill towards turn number 3. This time around though, I think the battle coming a little bit later on, as deep there for Safso. That is how Fabio gets alongside. He's on the outside here as we make our way through turn 4. Gets the run on the outside, and is again the outside heading in towards turn 5. And Safso, I think, just struggling on the brakes a little bit. You see again going a bit deep. Seems like maybe a little bit of an issue there. But Fabio, yeah, I did notice this. There was a bit of contact on the exit, which was how he was able to get through. Not the cleanest of overtakes in the end, but some good battling nonetheless. And then we saw Fabio missing his front wing. This is what happened there, sliding around the rear end of the car. Not happy at all. We're in 4th gear, can't quite get to full throttle, loses the car, hits the left, hits the right, and the wing is gone for Fabio. Interestingly, he decides to stay out here. It would have been interesting to see maybe if he could have pitted, had some fresh tyres and tried to do something there maybe. And then last but not least, again, still all of these happening on the same lap. This was lap 76 of 78. Grid Jokes deciding to call it quits. He actually came in for a set of soft compound tyres at some stage. I don't know when that happened. So yeah, he was driving around on the slicks in these conditions, which was a bold decision. But yeah, decided to take the tyre off of the car, which a questionable decision considering it was 2 laps to the end. And I will just double check. I believe he was running in P15 and there was nobody behind him. He was guaranteed 1 point if he had finished that race. So yeah, unfortunate to see him calling it quits there at the end. But that is what happened.
I love it, Josh. Thank you so much for that. You've been on it tonight. You've given us so many clips. All right, let's go and talk to our podium. Let's get in 3rd place, Mr. Lolly Noble. We're still in an amazing streak. Oh, no, you're good. All right, Lolly Noble, hello, mate. Every single time we're continuing the trend, every single time you're here, you're on the podium. Welcome. How are you?
Hello, all good, guys. Nice to meet you again in F1 26.
Yes.
Really good event, really good restart anyway. I just get a bug today, so this podium is like for me a win, maybe, something like this.
I love that. I love that. Okay, give us your thoughts on the new game, the DLC. Are you enjoying F1 26? How was that from the dry to the wet?
I like it. I really like it. I'm not joking. But I think this is not the track when we can see what is F1 26. We need to wait the next season. Sorry, the next track, not the season. So, yeah, I really enjoy it.
I love that. Okay, brilliant. All right. Well, look, it has been a long night with a lot of delays, so we're going to go and run through these interviews a little bit quicker than normal. So, anything else you would like to say to your fans? You've obviously absolutely nailed it in third place. You should be extremely proud of yourself. Well done.
We are trying to win another time the championship. Maybe hope the minimap is not going to bug. So, I hope I can win the next race.
I can't wait to see if you do it. Well, to continue our 100% podium rate when I've been here. Well done, Lolly Nova. And we will see you next time, okay? Take care, mate.
Okay, I try.
I love it. Okay, I always love his accent. It's amazing, isn't it? All right, let's talk to Mr. Second Place, the analytical statistic man himself, who must be absolutely loving this battery management. Gillen, hello? Or no Gillen. We'll take no Gillen. He's gone. He's not talking to us. He's too busy looking over his spreadsheets, thinking.
Hello, sorry.
You're too busy looking at all your spreadsheets, is that right? Yes.
You know me.
Yes. Gillen, welcome. Well done. How was that?
I'm happy, weirdly, despite leading so many laps and ultimately not winning the race. I'm happy. That was a solid race. Bit of an incident with Razin, which gave me some wing damage, so I was on the back foot from lap 23 onwards. Very lucky to get back to the lead with the safety car luck, the later pit on wets, and I always felt like Ben was going to come through. And honestly, Ben's a deserving winner today. He drove very well. Lots of moves that needed to make. Not easy to do at Monaco. Seemed like a half decent strategy. He had good pace, so no complaints to me. So yeah, P2, I'll take it. I'm happy.
I love it. Okay, well, I'll look more forward to seeing your video when it comes out about your overall thoughts of the new DLC. But can you give us a couple of paragraphs? Like, are you enjoying this new game? Like, where's your head at right now?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I think it takes a bit of time getting used to Lyco, and there'll definitely be people that try it, go, no, that's not for me. I can't do that. I hate that. Don't want to do it. Fair enough, and I think that's completely fair. For me, I like the new regs, so that helps. But I don't want to Lyco on quality laps. I don't want to Lyco the entire race, ideally. But now I've done it enough that I'm used to it. It's kind of become my driving style, and I'm completely used to it now. Just like you do in endurance a lot and things like that. Like it's just it gets a lot of hate, and I do get it. I'm not saying that everyone's wrong for hating it, but for me, I'm used to it now. And I don't mind it. It's not a negative to Lyco. I find it really tactical. It's really interesting. Monaco wasn't a big battery track, so I'm interested to see how future races go on battery. But yeah, for me, it's not a negative. I enjoy it.
Love it. Well, you looked in command, to be fair, for most of that race, like you said. But yeah, Ben just seemed to be on a different level today. God, he was aggressive, but he pulled it off, which was, usually we were expecting maybe one of you to kind of go into the wall, but you just kind of handled it amazingly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't want to see Ben just in front or behind me for most of that race. That was made it a lot more stressful. But no, yeah, from what I've seen, it seemed to be aggressive from Ben, but I don't know, he seemed to make the moves. I don't think anyone was too angry, maybe, but I'll judge that on the clip book on Monday when I look at the clips. We might be saying different things then, maybe.
Yes, I look forward to seeing it. All right, well, we better move on. It's been a late one tonight. You go enjoy yourself. Anything you would like to say to any fans?
That's it from me. Cheers, guys, for the commentary, and I'll catch you next week. I'm excited to see how the battery goes next week. Very different track.
Spot on. Take care, mate. See you next time. All right, for our race winner, he has had a long event to win his very first race at Monaco, as far as I'm led to believe, and he certainly did do it in style. Ben, hello, mate. I hope you're here. Welcome, and congratulations for winning. He's not.
Hello. How are we?
Welcome, Mr. Monaco himself. Hello. How are you? How was that race?
I've been better, to be honest. Not a great day. Very depressing. No pace. No fun. No, it's incredible. You know what? I've been dreaming about this weirdly for a long time. Yes, it's nice to win a championship. It's nice to win races, but if there's any race you want to win, it is Monaco. And I'm glad to have got that off my back now, and can add that to the Infinity Stones, I suppose, that I have.
I love that. Look, you're always fast. You're always a contender. But at the start of the race, you weren't maybe the number one name that I was going to say that was going to win that. But especially when the rain hit, obviously beforehand you was doing really well. But see, when the rain hit, I felt like you just stepped up a different level.
I don't know how. I don't really know how, because I was like, oh, it's going to rain. Like, it's harder to overtake. There's less battery differences, like with boost mode being disabled. I thought it was going to be a bit of a snooze fest, but my setup or whatever, my style, I don't really know. It seemed to work in the wet. Definitely helped that Lolly and Alex had a little bit of front wing damage they were carrying for the second half of the race. So I don't know if that came into it a little bit as well, but, you know, for the first time driving in the wet on the 26 cars, I'm pretty happy with that. I can't complain. So, yeah, the race panned out just exactly how it needed to in the most entertaining way. I made so many overtakes. I got to the lead, boxed onto that VSC, caught up, and then had to overtake everyone again when it started raining. So yeah, it was an awesome race. I really can't complain. And to do it from behind against, you know, the quality of the grid that we had today, insanity. This is probably my best win ever in CS. I think I can say that.
I would agree. I would look at that and go, do you know what? I probably would agree. And I even think come Monday when Gillen has to do his clip book, he's going to have a lot of compliments and he's going to hate it. And we're all going to love it. I think you genuinely, your overtakes were so aggressive, but they were fair. And I just think absolutely nailed it. Right, we need to move on quickly because it has been a very long event, as we all know. Quick thoughts on the DLC. Are you in a good headspace with it?
I am. I try not to be too negative. I try to come at it with an open mind. Naturally, I like to lift and coast a little bit anyway because I like to underfuel. So this kind of plays into my hands a little bit. Today wasn't really a Lyco circuit. So I'm looking forward to like a proper track maybe next week when it's a bit more dynamic and we can be a bit more crazy with it. But yeah, I think if you come in with a negative mindset coming in, then you're kind of not really setting yourself up to succeed. So I'm happy. I'm enjoying it. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. So yeah, let's see what the next few races entail.
Banging. Couldn't have said it better myself. Right, go have a great night. Enjoy your win. You definitely deserve that. Always a pleasure, mate. You take care of yourself.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, let's bring in everyone as quick as we can. We all want to get to our beds. Well done, everyone. I think it's been a slog of an event, but for the first one, overall, all I have to say is banging. I thought that race was incredible. I thought all three of you gentlemen worked incredibly well. Josh, we've never seen the clip book get used more. The two Toms, I think, were incredible having to do basically three races. Tom, Knight, a few wee quick words just to sum up your night.
Oh, it was one of those races that we knew was going to be chaos. We knew was going to give such a great opening to the season, and Monaco always delivers.
I think so. Mr. Wilkinson, what about yourself?
Great start. Sets us up really nicely. So many storylines that can be built off this as well.
Yeah, and Josh, you got to really see what a lot of the creators were saying throughout the race. Well, what was the overall sentiment? Mr. Muted.
Happened again.
I'm never going to get through a broadcast without doing that. It's never going to happen. Yeah. Overall, it sounded quite positive. A lot of them were enjoying themselves out there. The racing, we had racing in Monaco. Come on.
Yeah.
It's got to be a positive.
I think you concur. All right, guys, in the chat, please let us know your thoughts as well. Also, if you've liked any of these gentlemen in front of you, TK, where can we find you in the world if we want to see more?
I'll tell you where you can't find me, and that's replacing rebellious radiators in the retirement villages of Reading. You can't find me there. But you can check me out on social media. They call me TK on pretty much every single social media.
So Wilkinson, what about yourself?
You won't find me rolling through the romping hills of Romania. You can find me wilco.coms on Instagram and TikTok.
Love that. And Josh, where can we find you, mate?
I can't think of something as good as those guys. You won't find me in Scotland, that's for sure. But my Twitch is It's Chocolate, and my Instagram _J.Richards24. I post some clips over there of my commentary.
I love it, guys. I've been Scott Taylor. You can find me on Instagram, Scott Taylor, making all the stupid song reviews of F1. Right, it's been an absolute pleasure. Don't forget Gareth Allen has been directing it, and he did mute us at one point, and we were all muted, so well done. He's threatening to mute us now. Well, before that, all we can say is for the Creator Series, thank you so much. It's been an incredible season opener, and we can't wait to do it all over again next Saturday. Remember, follow us on our social media throughout the week. You will see behind the scenes, and you probably will see a good cracking ending from Tiamat Marduk winning his first race at Monaco. I think it's been stellar. All right, from us and Gareth, thank you so much, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night, and we'll see you next Saturday.